it's correct though.
Yep. How's the cars feel with the lower tire pressure?
Feels better on the low speed, but not as good on the high speed.
Okay, so we'll leave them where they are.
Yeah.
Just leave them where they are.
Although the only thing I'm curious, is there a pressure difference between left and right? Yeah.
Alright, whenever you want to go out, you put your snapback up.
realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instinct, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, speak and how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome back, everyone. How is everybody today? It's been a great day so far for me. I don't know how it could get any better. We're gonna have a great time. I just know it. Gotta just take care of a couple of small admin things here, so that I can get some things going on here. Whoops, that's wrong. How is everyone out in the chat? Is everybody doing well? Everything going okay? Doing good. All right, cool, man. Garrus, I see you out there. Garrus has been promoted over on the whatever Discord to legend status. He is now he's got the infamous red ink logo. So he's legend. He's been promoted. He's a man above a man about town, a men among men, and all of that nonsense. He's doing well. And yeah, it's a good time for everyone. It's going to be a good time today on the show, guys. We've got quite a bit of hopefully good stuff to get through. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I haven't been have not been, um, have not been idle. I was on with CT over at Chaotic Truth, like immediately before I came in, and it was great. Um, the amount of nonsense that people prescribe to is shocking. It's just shocking, and so it's a good time for everyone. So yeah, we're gonna have a good stream today, guys. We're gonna have a great effort. I have sent out the link for chat later. If somebody wants to come up after the monologue is over, we're gonna have a great time with that as well. You're a red Power Ranger, but more importantly, a future dad. He is, in fact, going to be a future dad. So you know, do do show Garrus the love, all the love. Tomorrow's stream is going to be excellent. Going to be excellent. We're going to have outspoken Samantha on the show. I'm just going to roll really quick. It looks like the chat. You guys have been going at it all. Well, since I opened the stream up, we've got seriously Shelby, as always, mod in dude and for his work. We have Fredo Fonzarelli is out there. Buck White, I saw you. We were kind of conversing, selling some firearms today. Are we not men? Is in the chat. Les, good afternoon, Les. I think we've spoken a few times. I'm not really sure that I know that much about you, but that's okay. Joe Mobley Show is in the house. Joe, if you want to come up, you just say the word. We'll get you a link, and you won't have people yelling at you. I promise. And we've got Mr. Mister in the house. That's excellent. He's always a great conversationalist. Anson Knowles is out there spreading hate and discontent with his woman prattle. We have Dano. Dano is a mod, and he's awesome. Are we not men? Also a mod of ours. We've got a lot of mods here, guys, because we need them. Kevin L is out there. The L does not stand for loser. I know that you probably want it to, but it doesn't. Um, and yeah, man, we got some pretty cool people out there today, and it's only going to get better. Roland Thorne, what's up, buddy? I see you out there. I do. Mr. Boulay, Mr. Boulay. It was nuts over on the CT show. Again, Mr. Boulay, if you'd like to come up as well when we do the callers, please come up and you can give your impression of that show. We are going to talk about that. I'm not winding down, John. I'm starting up. If you would like to come up, you are welcome to do so. As a matter of fact, I would actually enjoy it if you came up to start out with. If you would like, please contact seriously Shelby, and he has the link. Adam87, the I see you out there as well. So yeah, I'm just winding up. I'm not winding down, but guys. So over on I kind of ducked in over at CT because they were talking about what I'm going to talk about today, and that's obviously the mayor of New York has been indicted. You're out and about right now. That's perfectly why are you? I don't know why you're getting Holocaust commercials. YouTube has been really funny with the ads. Sometimes it places the ads, sometimes it doesn't. Guys, I have no control over this. I have no control over what ads they put out there, so I don't know what to tell you. And this is why I need Joe Mobley up here because I'm about to say some controversial things, and he would help diffuse those controversial things. That's okay. I will do the best job I can. So one of the things that I think is very interesting, it could just be me, but the we have Adam West, or pardon me, whatever his name is, Adams. He has been indicted now for all kinds of things: corruption, bribery. There's suspicions that he has been taking money from foreign interest, Russian, Ukraine, possibly. There's a lot of different things going on out there, Mayor Adam West. I know. I don't know why I went right to right to Adam West. I love Mayor Adam West, by the way. I think that's one of the best cartoons ever. A pizza bagel does sound good right now. Yeah, it does actually. No, it doesn't. I just had breakfast. Sorry. Anyway, Batman 1.0. Absolutely. The At the end of the day, I think that it's very interesting because I made the comment before I left, and I really didn't give them a chance to respond to it. That I feel like that Wes or Adams, pardon me, you guys got me stuck on Wes now. Adams just did what always happens when you put um, bent liberal black men into power, and that is massive corruption. Now, also, this happens with bent liberal white men as well. The difference seems to be that the the difference seems to be that the um, the for lack of a better description, there's one group of people that seems to be better at covering it up, or just simply not taking so much that it's immediately noticeable and chargeable. So Adams is a piece of crap. He has been doing nothing for his city. He's not done anything. He's done no good for the city of New York at all. When I challenged another person over on the CT's show about what, because he'd actually kind of said that Adams had actually tried some conservative policies. When I challenged him on that, to just give me one conservative policy, just one that Adams had even entertained, and the best he could come up with is he supported the stop and frisk that Giuliani had put into place, and there was some other babble, literally babble. It was all prattle. There was no substance at all, and at the end of the day, it was just lame. It was just lame, and it just came back to Adams was doing what white men do because white men control his life and blah, blah, blah. White men, white men, white men. Totally made it a racist deal, which is what I expected. And the interesting thing is that the one mayor of New York that actually did what he said he was going to do was Giuliani. Giuliani got elected on the promise, the absolute, I mean, he literally said, if you elect me, this is what I'm going to do. And that was, he was going to stamp out as much corruption as possible, and he did. And he was going to be tough on crime and clean up the streets of New York. And he did it. Now, it took a couple of years after Giuliani left, but New York is as bad or worse than it was pre-Giuliani. And this is not something to be proud of. They didn't even have decency to wall it off. I'm not sure what we're talking about. I'd have to scroll. Adam 87. Yes, stop and frisk is not conservative. It's authoritarian. It is, absolutely. It's an odd policy for me, honestly, to get behind. Super mayor from Dalton, Illinois. Yeah, woman is crazy. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and actually, even after he left, John Mosman, his policies remained, and obviously, New York has been safe, for a while. Yeah, guys, if you are looking for a great piece of headgear, I can heartily recommend the Clover Tack hats. I think I got the last black one. I think he has a lot of green and orange ones left. You should get one. They're not expensive. They're great hats. I can also wholeheartedly recommend the Crucible hat, which I need to order. I have not ordered one yet. I've seen one and I liked it. I just haven't I haven't gotten one yet, but I will. Along with some other Crucible gear. Go over to the crucible.video and go into the grift shop and buy some Crucible gear. It is mesh on the back. It is. It's a Richardson trucker hat, I think. So, yeah. So we can't just stop with Mayor Adams because all of the other mayors of the sanctuary cities are just as bad. We have a mayor in Tennessee who has approved putting measures on the ballot coming up to for a vote on 3 gun control items that are specifically not allowed to take place according to Tennessee state law. And so a city can't pass a law that goes against a state law in the state of Tennessee without voiding its charter. And if it voids its charter, there's some other issues there, especially tax based. And since and Memphis is a very liberal city, it's very blue, and it has been for a long time. And the mayor there is an idiot. Like, I'm positive that somebody paid to get that person elected. I'm not going to say much more about it, but so we have a lot of these policies that are being proposed, a lot of legislation that's being put out there that it's trash. I mean, that's the best possible description that I can give for these for these proposals and these policies and the way that people want things. It's just straight trash. And I don't know. I really don't know how to solve it, guys. Except you have to get involved locally, right? And you have to really have to dig into people's policies. Just because someone makes a speech, and we're seeing this in real time with Harris. Harris will never talk about actual policy. She actually just got kind of called out on it the other night. She did an interview. I forget with which talking head she was doing an interview with, but the talking head actually had some common sense and said, "Hey, what is your policy? What are you going to do to lower taxes to make things easier on Americans overall? What is your policy on taxes and inflation and all of that?" And Kamami just tap danced all around it. Just tap dance like it's a production of Annie or something. Just tap dance away. And it's really important to remember, guys, that this is the way our politicians act, and we have to be better than this. We have to actually talk to our politicians. It doesn't take you that long to pick up the phone and call your mayor, governor, town councilman, state representative in your for your district. It doesn't take that long to pick up the phone and call them and say, "Hey, I'd like to speak to whoever that is." In my case, like, let's say, "Hey, I'd like to speak to Miss Blackburn or her representative regarding X. And this is the way I feel about it. And this is a conversation I'd like to have with her. And I know she's very busy. Please get back to me." And you have to be willing to do that, guys. You really have to. You cannot sit on the sidelines and bitch about it like girls. And this is what this cheerleader effect that we have going on now is really annoying. When Rush Limbaugh was alive, and especially when he was in New York City, and they did the bake sales and they did all of those things. He put his time and money where his mouth was. He got out there, he did the hard stuff, he did everything. And he, if he definitely helped get Giuliani elected, and everyone everyone can have a small part like that, right? Everyone, you can play a part. You can show up. You really can. And you can call, you can write, you can email, you can stop by the local office, stop by your local um, uh, Republican committee office. I'm sure there's one in your town or in a close. You can stop by and say, "Hey, I'm really concerned about this. What can we do about this?" Because if we don't do this, guys, if we don't do this, we're going to lose. We're just going to lose. I mean, that's just that simple. And this is and looking at what's happening to New York, Chicago, Denver, the whole state of California, basically, is exactly what the entire rest of the country could look like. And I know what you're saying. Well, I live in Texas; it'll never get there. I live in Ohio; it's bad, but it's not that bad. I live in Virginia; it's bad, but it's not that bad. Um, it's going to be exactly that bad. It really is. So um, when we look at this thing with Mayor Adams, just getting back to that for a minute, I kind of got off on a diatribe there, but um, when when we look at this thing, a lot of the corruption that he's charged or he's accused of is still very nebulous. They're not actually saying X, he took money from X, performed Y. He did, he took money from this person and did that, or he took money from these people and pocketed it and bought a Lamborghini. Or there's, if you read the indictment, there's, it's clear that he did wrong things. There are some items listed, but there's a lot where it's just kind of vague. And now we're hearing about foreign interest groups. We're hearing about a bunch of different things that are super interesting. Probably only to me, to be honest. But uh, you know, um, I like it. I like that. I like it that they're indicting him. I think we need to indict a lot more, and I think that it's very late. And what's more important is what is going to happen to all of the um, foreign nationals that are illegally in this country that are being housed in luxury hotels that the city of New York has taken over. What's going to happen with that? This is important. Mr. Mister is actually a really smart guy. I have to be honest with you guys. He's actually really smart. So what he says is it's because it's easier to import votes through gerrymandering and foreign influence, like in Minnesota, et cetera, with AOC and the Islam migrants with Ilhan Omar. Now, these are legal immigrants, guys, and they form communities and they all vote the same. It's basically groupthink. And as far as the gerrymandering, that's why it is so hard. Do you know why California stays blue, even though really there aren't that many liberals in California? There's a lot of conservatives in California, but do you know why they can't win? Anybody guess? Anybody want to throw out an idea? I'll wait. I'll let the cat chat catch up. But there's a very specific reason why California, unless something majorly happens, is going to stay blue for a while. There's a reason for it. You guys take your best shot. Let me know what you think in the chat, and I'll educate you in just a minute. Well, Angel Berber knows because he lives there. Right. Redistricting. Right. So what happened is as soon as the Democrats knew that they could do it legally, and they actually had enough people in position to do so, what they did is they rezoned the voting districts, and so that the um, districts that have the most um, blue votes are the ones that are counted the heaviest. And so once they rezoned it, right? So like you could have a good mix of Republicans and Democrats in an area, but if you split that district, all of a sudden it's not a good mix. It's heavily one way or the other, and usually um, both. Um, Anson, you 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 can't be day drinking, bro. You can't be day drinking. There's a lot of difference between a Democrat and a Republican as far as as far as voters go. There's a big difference between, or there's not that much difference between Democrats and Republicans once they've been elected and been in office for longer than a few years. But initially, and especially for as far as voters go, guaranteed, there's a big difference. Pardon me. So the California um, redefined the districts so that there's just no way that they can, or it's very difficult. And the other thing they did is where they really didn't know that they had enough blue votes. What they did is they made the primaries open. That means that there's not a Republican primary and a Democrat primary, and then you have a Republican and Democrat choice. What you have is you have all of the candidates, regardless of party, in the same primary, and the top two then are your candidates. And this makes it very, very hard for a Republican to act, and especially an actual Republican to get uh, primaried in, because you know they'll have two different Democrats to choose from, and that's who you're voting for. So it's a California, until they change their voting laws, it's just going to stay blue. Um, so the well, government in and of itself cannot be corrupt. Our government is not corrupt. We have corrupt officials in our government that need to be rooted out. But that's a defeatist attitude, are we not, man? That's not correct. Um, and I think Anson, I think you meant dimes worth of difference. But again, day drinking, just don't do that. But I digress. Back to the ridiculous amount of corruption that's being caught now. It's interesting that going into the election that they went ahead and charged the mayor. Yeah, that's actually correct, Mr. Mister. That's actually really correct. Um, I wouldn't say the majority of government is corrupt. I would say that what you have is that you have. Um, well, I'll get into that. We'll talk. We'll talk about government corruption. I actually would love to have Joe Mobley come up or someone come up and chat with me while I do this. I'd rather not do it as a monologue, but I will. But Mr. Mister is correct about this. Um, uh, so for the presidential race, um, that's actually pretty well done. Um, what I'm specifically talking about is the California governor, mayoral, and congressional races are almost almost impossible to get conservative into office in California at this moment. It's not impossible. I think you could do it, but it's really exceedingly difficult. So anyway, back to what's going on with this Mayor Adams. I'm really surprised they did it this close to the election, because once again it's more corruption, and this time it's on the Democrat side, and it's the exact kind of corruption that people have been saying that the Democrats have been doing all along. So it's interesting that they did it. My guess is this a distraction measure so that um, somehow New York is going to figure out how to get um, more immigrants registered to vote in New York City. So here, and this is, look, the problem, that's actually not too big a problem for us in the presidential race. However, in the mayoral race, I think I think that I think they're very concerned after the governor and mayor, with all of the corruption from the governor and mayor mayoral offices in New York, with all the corruption that's been going on the past few years. I think the Democrats in New York feel like that it's getting to the point, and remember now, a lot of Democrats fled New York City, so you have a lot of conservative people there that work. You have tradesmen, and let's not forget that right now, currently, um, it's currently very testy in New York because of the Teamster Union. Well, all of the unions. Didn't one of the unions just go on strike in the Northeast um, because of I believe it was, yeah, I think it was because of immigrants. And I know the truck drivers union's pissed. All of the unions are very unhappy right now with the way the Democrats are running things, and the union vote in New York is so important to them. Yeah, Boeing. Yeah, right. Thank you, Ryan Maniani. Um, yeah, and locals. Yeah, yeah. So look, if New York loses, if New York loses support from the unions over all of this corruption, over all of this, the stuff with the illegals and all of that, it's gonna be rough, guys. It's gonna be rough because they could actually get a conservative Republican governor and mayor, and maybe a few congressmen as well. It's going to be really interesting, because New York has basically. It looks like New York has basically decided that they want to crap on their um, constituents. Right? That's it. Right, BSR, yeah, right. Shit is hitting the fan rapidly, and I think that I just don't think that you can downplay that enough. You know, I just don't think you can. I think it's really hard when we're looking at this from the outside. For someone like me, where we're not really having any union problems, but you look at that the entire Northeast, especially New York, and um, all of the labor unions. This is the first time I think in 40 years the unions have not backed a president, and usually a Democrat presidential candidate. And this is really interesting. Um, it's going to be it's just going to be really it's an interesting election. Ryan says immigrants are already being counted on the census. Yeah. uh census dictates how many electoral votes each state gets, so elections are being affected now. Yeah. So, and here's the thing about that. Um, the the thing is that it doesn't really matter in New York City because New York City, we're not gonna win New York City anyway, right? And we weren't really gonna win New York State. So, what they're really trying to do is to pump up the states that they think they can win in and get more, and add 3 or 4 electoral votes. The problem is, I don't think they can do it by November 7th or whatever. And so this is something that's interesting. I agree with Angel Berber. The crackdown seems to be a message to Democrats in power in the cities and states to not speak out against any federal policies we hold, or else we will come after you with the 3-letter agencies. I agree with that. I also agree. Well, I also agree, or I would say that right now it's very, very important to the Democrats to be able to win. There's so much attention being paid to who's voting, how they're voting, where they're voting. They've already, I already feel like they're going to lose Pennsylvania. I think they really needed Pennsylvania to win. And if they don't carry Pennsylvania, I don't think they can win. And I don't think they're going to carry Pennsylvania. I feel like the Democrats are very desperate right now, especially since the team, since they're losing support out of the unions. Good morning, Serena, or afternoon, Serena. Serene, how are you? Good to see you in the chat. You're in New York, are you not, Serene? Am I thinking of the right one? There's the names, the screen names blend together after a while. I'm sorry. Apologies for banging the mic around there, guys. But yeah, Angel Berber, I think it's also a warning to the status quo, that the status quo is not going to protect you, right? Like, just because the Democrats have typically been able to avoid prosecution, the problem is that the landscape is changing. With the advent of cell phones everywhere, video that that can't be manipulated. It's getting tougher and tougher for the Democrats, especially, to cry foul and just be weird. I can't. See. The interesting thing is, I think the Democrats thought that having all of the video cameras and the auditors and everything would hurt the conservatives, but what it's really done is it's energized the conservatives and proven that the leftists are criminals. Mr. Mister says they're in serious trouble in PA. Scott Pressler announced Northeast PA, Luzerne County, Biden's home area, flipped Republican registration, first time in 44 years. I believe that. Serene says she's doing very well. Good. Me and my sons are doing well. And my son that was not feeling well last night, we kept him home from school or from preschool, and we're watching him today to make sure everything's okay. He's fine. He's in good shape. Man, thank you for asking, actually. So, but I'm in New York City a little bit. My wife is in New York City quite a bit, a little bit more than me. And it's very, it's very interesting to have observed over the past few years the change in New York City. It really is. Truck driver, yes. Trump 2024. Let's get those likes up there. Let's get Let's get Mr. Trump elected. That's right. And by the way, today is my wife's birthday, and unfortunately, she had a client meeting, so she is not around at the moment. But we will be celebrating her birthday this weekend, and it's going to be a great time. So it's going to be awesome. So there we go. And yeah, it's a good day. It's a good day today. So it's a very good day. Very good day today. All right, guys. Well, it is not quite. Is it really this? Have I burned through that fast? Wow. Yeah. All right. We'll keep going. Yeah. Angel Berber. Yes, I agree. And ironically, the Democrats have backed themselves into a corner with this. The party's constant flip-flop on law and order plus trust the process makes it hard for them to cry publicly about it. And again, the fact that everyone has has video on their phone, we're not getting just one angle of things anymore. We're getting 3, 4, 5 different angles. It's really, really interesting to it's really interesting to watch, because they were the ones that were all about, oh yeah, we're going to video everything and everybody is going to be it's going to be awesome. And now, of course, they're the ones trying to censor cell phone video. They're the ones trying to prevent this type of evidence being brought in, because it only hurts them. I got Hochul's China connection. Yep. Cuomo was taken down, Menendez in Jersey, and now Adams. Yeah. So there's a lot of corruption. And here's the thing, guys. It's the kind of corruption that's easy to track, and it's easy to figure out. And these guys are just, they're only hurting themselves, right? Like I don't understand why any politician now would not really be like straight up, like completely and thoroughly transparent. No hidden agendas, none of that. And there's so many of the leftists to go after that it's not even funny. Now, and there are some conservatives, that have been in office for a very long time or are new to office and just got elected to be bad people. It's an interesting thing that where we're at. It's so interesting. I really can't tell you how great it is that on both sides of the aisle, the corruption is being called out. BSR says, I'm currently in Massachusetts and have been for the past week or so. I've never seen so many Trump signs. It will still be blue, obviously, but people are waking up to Democrat garbage. And this is an important thing. This is actually really, really important. So it's very important to understand. And again, I go back to Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was excellent about this. I'm only echoing the work that he laid the ground, or he laid the grounds for. It's very, very interesting that we have so many people energized for the presidential race. We have to direct that just as much energy into the local races. We have to. We absolutely have to do that. If we don't, what's going to happen? It's just the way it is. I can't do anything about it. We all know this is the way it's going to happen. What we have to do, we have to start winning those local elections. Prosecutor, DA, councilman, mayor, governor, senators, state representatives. Pardon me. All of it. We have to start winning this stuff, guys. If we don't, if you guys just sit on your hands and you go, my vote does nothing. It doesn't matter. We lose. We lose. You're not even in the game if you don't do that. You just aren't. You are not even in the game. You want to be in the game. You talk up a good game. You get angry and you shake your fist at the corrupt politicians, but you do nothing about it. You do nothing about it. Right. Mr. The Attorney General in Texas blocked so many recent bad policies. Right. This is why Soros has said publicly, I think he even put it in a newspaper article, that he no longer spends a lot of money for Tara Finley. I don't know. I have no control over the YouTube ads. I have no control. I mean, I can turn them off completely. And maybe I should do that short term. Anyway, guys, look, it doesn't do you any good to shake your fist and not go vote. Soros has admitted publicly that he now prefers to spend money not on big elections like president, congressman. He is spending money mostly for prosecutors and state attorneys because they interpret the law. And it's very important to remember that to pay attention to those votes. Go vote in your local elections and turn the blue to red everywhere you can. Everywhere you can. Because if you don't, so much of America is going to look like New York City. We just can't do it. You're right. Absolutely. Mr. George Soros did gain legal residency in the U.S. specifically to get around campaign laws. He also didn't want to register as a FARA, a foreign agent, for propaganda Soros. Soros is buying up radio stations. I've heard that as well. You got a Scamla ad on your channel 5 minutes ago. That's funny. The irony. I don't have any control over it, guys. I don't know, I can't, I mean, I can turn them off all the way. And I typically do that for live, but, YouTube, I think I have it set in YouTube to turn it on automatically. So, I just didn't turn it off before I came on today. I'll try and remember in the future. But yeah, you look, guys, and this is so important. I mean, we get wrapped around the axle talking about guys going to the gym and eating right and getting laid and all of these kinds of things. But if you want your kids to grow up in a great country, if you want the country to remain great, if you want to be proud of your country the way that you are, the way that you have been, hopefully the way you have been, if you want us to remain the greatest country the world has ever seen, each and every single person in the country has to go and vote. Especially, the guys on the right. For whatever reason, we conservatives are conservatives. So we tend to a lot of times we just don't vote. For whatever reason. I don't know. Anson, KYGL and Q. Look, if you talk about braiding armpit hair long enough, you reap the consequences. The more that comes out on the P. Diddy thing, the crazier it gets. So I like Angel Berber's comment here. More superficial issues than deep issues that affect society in large ways. And look, it is the small elections that matter really a lot. You know, if you're tired of homeowners associations running amok and being able to do whatever they want, then you have to get on the city council so that they can restrict the covenants that these people can have. If you're sick and tired of mini malls being built, you have to you have to elect people onto the city council and into the mayoral office that will put a stop to that. I mean, this is how this works. I mean, this is just basic. It's to me, it's basic citizenship. It's weird to me that I have to actually go out of my way and say this is what you need to do, but that's actually exactly what has to happen. I have to say this is what you need to do. Spooky billionaires supporting politicians. What do you think of Peter Thiel's unbridled support for JD Vance along with Purdue Pharma? You think he would 25th Trump to be president? No. I don't think. No, I think Vance is. I think Vance is playing the long game. I think that he wants to be president. I think that he is looking at. I think that he's looking at running with Trump's endorsement in 28. I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, Musk is unbridled support of Trump right now. I mean, that's very funny to me that you have literally, a leftist hero supporting Trump. That's just hilarious. Because he supports free speech mostly, I think. But yeah, I think that's. I mean. The question is if Vance runs, would the party support him? The problem is, from my point of view, is that the Republican Party, as far as Congress is concerned, and as far as Congress and the higher levels of the party are concerned, it seems to me, maybe I'm the only one, but it seems to me that while they're lukewarm in supporting Trump, I feel like that it is. I feel like I don't know that they would support Vance because I think that they don't. I don't think they really want a business. I don't think they want a threat. I don't know how to put this, guys. I don't think that the machine will back Vance unless he does something ridiculous, which I don't see him doing. Let's see. In my opinion, red pillory about relationships is running its course, and we need to get back to the cultural, theological, and political issues as a whole affecting society. Look, the red pill stuff is not new. It's been around since probably time began, but it was really documented first, I think, in the 20s, and it's been coming a long way since then. You didn't realize the correlation between doing a Google search and YouTube ads, that because Google owns YouTube. That's the whole reason they own it. I think it's all related, though, Angel. All right, so I think it's all related. We have in this country, for better or worse, we have we have two generations of lost people that while they should be great, they're not great. They want to be great, but they can't be great. I don't know why. They just aren't. And a lot of them have given up. A lot of, we hear that. I mean, I'd never heard the term incel before, and now we've got the term incel. We've got all of this new stuff coming through. Not really sure how it correlates, but I digress. And yes, I am talking about the old guard Republicans stuck in the mud that have been blocking Trump for years. Fortunately, those are kind of going away. It's just the way it works. We have to have better, clearer thinking, traditionally educated, classically, if I may be so bold as to say, classically educated people, young men, young women that can go out there and do good deeds, do good things, make it all happen. And we don't have that currently. What we have right now is we have a bunch of people who whine and cry about the student loans that they take out. We have people that will fight to the death to abort a child, right? Because they're just like, I don't know, I don't even actually understand that. No one's been able to give me a good reason why they want to. They just want to. And so I'm I don't know, man. I feel like that we have to start. It's kind of the same thing. You have to kind of start red pilling people, and I'm using that term as a wake up call, not the descriptors of the red pill movement. Literally just saying, wake up and see the reality, or stay in your mind numbed robot outlook and just keep rolling. Kind of the same thing. Yeah, I agree. It's not just Marxists that have been programming people, Ryan. By the way, I haven't seen you in here before, but your comments are really good. Yeah, this is so this type of programming is classical technique to basically destroy the will and assertion and drive of young people. It's a classical way to do that, and it is insanity. I agree with you 100%. There's still some solid 20-year-olds which are working their assessments off right now. I think he meant asses. Yeah, no, I agree with you, but those are the minority, really, I think. I could be wrong about that, actually. I wonder if technically the minority of people are it's like 30% of the people are making 90% of the noise. And so the 60% of people out there that are just going out and doing their jobs, doing it well, and going home at night are underrepresented because they don't have time to bitch about it. Maybe that's true. What do you think about that, Roland? What do you think? That's a great conversation. That's a good way to look at it for sure. Yeah, Tara Finley. That's part of the whole '60s thing, right? Is that the baby deletion became birth control, or it has been used as birth control since the '60s, and it's just really, really stupid. It's a really bad policy, and I can't believe that we continue to allow it. Anson Knowles, 90% of people are sheep and just waiting for their orders. Absolutely true. And what's funny is they all think they're funny. They all think they're witty. They all think they're smart, and they're really pretty stupid. High percentage of Gen Z are not mentally or physically fit enough for military service. I did not know that. That's interesting. That's an interesting statistic. I need to look that up. Just want to have fun, eat, sleep after working our asses off all day. No time for bitching. You know what? If that were true, I would support that. I would support that. Are we not men? I would 100% support that. I don't know that that's true, but if it is, I support that because that was me. I never had time to whine and cry and bitch and moan because I got up early. I went to work. I worked my ass off. I went to my second job. I worked my ass off. If I was lucky enough, I could go out, maybe get a date, something like that, and then go to sleep and get up the next day and do it all over again. So, yeah, I think I never had time for bitching, moaning, complaining, whining, any of that nonsense. It just didn't work for me. So, it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Roland Thorne, that's pretty good. Yeah, you guys are on it today, man. I'm like, you're making the show easy. Easy. So how many counts? I haven't looked yet. Have they updated the indictment on Adams? I'm curious. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, Mister. Give me the question. I know you're busy. So whoever had Alex Jones buy, or pardon me, Elon Musk buy Infowars and sell it back to Alex Jones, um, whoever had that on their written on their card, that the people are actually like, there's an entire internet movement now asking for that to happen. Tara Finley, there are so many clips of young people only a couple of years into the workforce crying about how hard it is. Yeah, that's a real thing. But hey, you know what? I remember I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I remember when I had guys that would come to work for me as a mechanic, and they weren't really suited to it, right? Like, they understood kind of how things worked and they could work on their own cars, but they were not competent to work on other people's cars. They didn't take the time to go read. They didn't do research. They didn't understand that it was more than just fixing a car, right? Like, or just swapping out components. Sometimes you had to diagnose things, and you had to figure things out, and some things could be very complex to find a problem. So those guys would last maybe a year, and they would go find something else to do. They would quit, or we would have to fire them because they screwed up too many times. And at the end of the day, we'd have to move them on down the road, and they would go be, UPS driver or something like that. They would move on with their lives and find another career. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you start out life, if you think that you're going to be a newspaper reporter, and the problem is you can't write your way out of a paper bag, there's really nothing wrong with that. That, like, that's totally cool. Like, why get bent about that? And so, cry, it's okay sometimes to cry about how hard the work is. That's fine. The problem is that if you're going to cry about it, go do something, change jobs, do something else. There's be proactive, have a little bit of self-actualization, self-motivation, and pick yourself up by your balls and move on down the road. Silvar Ogre, I like this. I think it is a small amount making the most noise. I'm just now in a place in my life where I have the time to chat online without it affecting my income. And that took until I was in my 30s. That's right. And a lot of people literally want, like, the day they graduate high school, they want to be set up for life. And they expect it. It's not even that they want to earn it. They just expect it. Angel Berber with the banger. The state of women today was ushered in by men. That's true. Men in corporations and politics ushered in feminism to make more profit and tax revenue. They also wanted to add to the workforce without having to without having to pay more. So they basically made split the salary in half. Out of Delaware, Smartmatic suing Newsmax over defamation. Fox News opened the door, $700 million settlement. Does this give immunity for questioning election integrity. It probably does. Well, there should have been immunity for that anyway. That's that's one thing. Wasn't the owner of hang on, let me what is that what's the name of the machines, the voting machines? Crap, I can't think of it now. I'm losing my train of thought. What's the name of those voting machines? It was I think he is in court. Dominion, yes, thank you. Right, yeah, okay, here it is. Let me pull this up here. Yeah, Fox and Dominion just reached a $787 million settlement over election claims. Is that what you're talking about? In Atlanta, there's a lawsuit over the security of Dominion voting machines in Georgia. Details surrounding a hack coordinated by co-defendants of former President Trump and the Peach State's Election Commission. Election subversion case took center stage. Then they talk a lot about Trump's indictment, blah, blah, blah. Oh, see, it's basically saying that that they have proof that the Dominion guys did cheat in the runoff election, Georgia's Jan 5th, 2021 runoff elections for 2 Senate seats. Yeah. There's evidence that there was corruption there. Well, that's going to get interesting. That's going to get really interesting. No crying, just yell at first shift for fucking things up. That man's worked in a factory, that's for sure. I saw that one too. And so one of the interesting things, and I wish I had saved it. I need to get my Google foo out and getting I need to get it need to find this article. But so you guys will remember that in Atlanta they had I believe it was a governor's race, or I believe it was a governor's race. Was it Atlanta? It was either Atlanta or Vermont. They had a governor or mayoral race where they had basically 3 candidates. 2 were male, one was the incumbent, one was from the same party as the incumbent, and then the third was a female. And when the results came out from voting, the 2 males had reasonable voting levels, but the woman had very few votes. And they were like, okay, that's fine, until the woman looked at the actual polling data, and it showed that she had not gotten a single vote in her own district, and she knew that her and her husband had voted there. And so they had the machines audited, and sure enough, the machines had been tampered with to alter the results. And basically in those districts, every vote for her would randomize between the other two candidates. And so, and I believe those were Dominion machines as well. So I took this back then as the Dems running a test case to see if they could get caught and how easy it would be to catch them. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't think that they're going to cheat as bad this time, because the people who are monitoring the elections now know. Was that Atlanta, Shelby? Yeah. The people now know that they can't get away with it. They also ran a cheat test in Vermont. I don't remember what it was, but they've run several tests. Two of them I know about, Vermont and Atlanta. I know that they tried to cheat and they got caught in both cases. So I think that's one of the reasons why you see the Democrats with all the stops pulled out, because they can't rely on cheating this time. They're going to have to come out with another strategy. John Smith, I'm doing well, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you. So that's what it is. What? So that was another thing too, John Smith. The courts were heavily chastised after the election for not looking at the evidence, and as a matter of fact, in Virginia, the court that refused to look at the evidence of voter fraud in Pennsylvania was overturned by their own state Supreme Court, who said that while the votes were valid, the law, it was unconstitutional to change the law, and they should have been not valid at all, and they should never been able to do it. So it's going to be interesting. I don't believe they're going to be able to cheat as badly this time, again, because it was so obvious the way that they cheated in the last election that you're just going to have too many poll watchers. You're going to have too many auditors. It's just going to be too much. Yeah. Well, Pennsylvania just the reason that Pennsylvania is about to flip red is because of that. Right. Mail-in voting is becoming more and more restricted as well, BSR. But in some states, and I believe California is one of them, they allow you to mail in vote, no problem. So, but again, the nice thing is that a lot of the states that allow this malarkey aren't states that matter, because we wouldn't have won them anyway, right? Like, we have to concentrate on the states that are battleground states, or states that we typically do win. We don't want to lose a state due to nonsense. So, all right, guys, we are solidly in the caller portion of the program. Anyone that wants to call in and either come up on stage, or I don't actually have the gadget that allows me to have actual phone calls transferred into the computer, but I'll get that set up. Yeah, every first world country except the US has banned mail-in votes because of fraud. So the thing about that is, because of our military is deployed so much, which we could solve. We have the technology to solve that, and we probably need to revamp how the military is able to vote from abroad, right? And not do mail in, but do like voter, be able to vote over the course of like several days in the field. So even if they have people out, they can vote when they get back in, like early voting, late voting. So, yeah. But that is true. Everybody's banned it except for us, because we are stupid, I guess. I don't know. We got good news for getting our populist in Congress. Moreno supposedly is pulling ahead in Ohio. That's true. So we're winning some battles. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, TR Finley. So it would be really great if we could have sweeping voter reform um, from state to state. And I think what would have to happen is that you would have to have all of the governors agree that they're so you would basically like in 2025 you'd have to have all the governors agree that by 2028 or by going into 2028, it's like in January 2027 they would have all of the voting um, irregularities solved and resolved, and maybe not standardized because the states just want to be different than each other, but certainly within a realm of reality, because right now we do not operate within a realm of reality. We operate, really just in a terrible fashion when it comes to voting. So, yeah, and so yeah, it's a very interesting deal right now, I think, and it's something that's if you really think about it too long, it can be a little bit depressing. Did I see the video from Charlie Kirk about why Fox called Arizona so early in 2020? I did not. What did he say? Not see that. Welcome, Mr. Mister.
So,
Not much. How are you?
just waking
Driving?
up.
Are you
It takes
driving?
me out. No, I just woke up just before your show came on, so I'm kind of out
Okay.
of it. But yeah, the voting laws, it's just too much to talk about in the chat, so I had to come up and
Yeah,
mention
when you
how
said that you were going to talk in chat, I was like, okay, that's bold.
the we're winning a lot of stuff on that front as well because Wisconsin changed their election laws. It's done on the state legislator level, so the Wisconsin changed its election laws to ban Soros money. We got
Hmm.
new stricter voting laws in North Carolina, new laws in Texas. The AG of Texas actually, it's not that I've been tracking all of it. They didn't change the election laws, but what that AG did, to your point earlier about how on the local level you need support, they tried to come in and change the laws to benefit them, and the Texas AG stopped it because what they were going to do in Texas was they were going to they were going to sign a bill that banned anyone from challenging election integrity, which I think is wild. But so it is going around, and there's other states that this is why I think I keep saying he's going to win because they are months behind the ball on the Republicans knew this months ago, and they've been working on it on the state level. The only two worries I have currently, so Arizona in particular, there's a court case going around. 15 counties are suing because Arizona failed to scrub illegals from voter rolls, and they didn't stop it. So they're getting sued, and I think one county in PA is getting sued, but we're doing okay in PA. But um, so yeah, they're in trouble. Like uh, like I said, it's too many holes for them to plug. So uh, I really hope that the governor gets in North Carolina. And we got 5 new populists coming in Congress. If they all get in, then it'll be enough to stop the bleeding, I think. And we can get back to some kind of normalcy.
Well, the and actually, this kind of rolls into what TR Finley says is couldn't the Supreme Court rule on illegal immigrant voting since it's already against the law? And they have. They tried an end run because so they tried to get undocumented voters in as illegal aliens living here with ID could vote. They tried to get that approved, and the Supreme Court said no. and then they tried to run it as a law, and the Republicans shot it down. That was a month ago. So they haven't had time. They don't have time to bring it back up for a vote and make it put it into effect before the election. So on that, I don't see any legal path for the for
Well,
undocumented foreign nationals to be able to vote in this election. Now, the mid-year or the midterm elections, oof, they're going to be
yeah.
full court
Well,
press. If especially if Trump gets into office, it's going to be a full court press with a lot of pressure being brought, about closing military bases. They're going to talk about cutting defense spending. They're going to talk about they're going to pull every single card they have, guaranteed. They're going to pull every single card they have to.
well, what's interesting about Arizona in particular is, um, it's got one of the largest military industrial complex areas in the country, and so
Mhm,
if you're anti-war, they don't like you, but they don't like Democrats either. So it's been interesting to watch that whole scenario play out. But regarding the illegals in particular, so what happened in Arizona was the government stepped in, okay, and said, because Arizona's like, we're going to pass our own election laws regarding illegal immigrants. And the government stepped in and said, no, you can't do that, like you said, because it's already illegal. But what's interesting about it is they want to have their cake and eat it too, like the Democrats, because um, you're not allowed. It's the same argument with what happened in 2020 regarding Pennsylvania and the Republicans. They said, oh, well, what about this? So in election laws are made at the state legislature level, and you're not to interfere with that. This goes
mhm,
back to our argument with states' power. Okay, so when it benefits them, they want it. When it doesn't benefit them, they want to step in and say, no, Arizona, you can't make your own election laws. It's like, wait a minute. No, you can't come in here and tell a state what to do. So when it benefits you because you want to extend the days of counting because you saw Trump was ahead until Biden's ahead, then all of a sudden magically, oh, we're done counting. But now that Arizona's come in and said, oh, we want to scrub our voting rolls the proper way, if that includes getting rid of illegals off that might have been registered erroneously, it's like, no, you can't do that. Now they're getting sued. I can't remember what the source is for that, but I'll always source what I read, to you guys or whatever. But yeah, it's not good.
yeah. But again, this is all playing against the Democrats more than it's playing against us, right? What the problem is that they thought they had it locked down, and it's just like if you ever like I'm thinking of a good analogy here that most people like, if you've ever wrestled with somebody that was just better than you, or maybe just had a little more experience or just a little quicker, and you think you've got them locked down, like you're like, I'm done. I'm here. I got one move left, and this dude is locked. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're flying through the air, right? And this is what the Democrats have basically done. Now they're flying through the air. Now they could land on their feet and come back at us, but right now they're having a lot of problems. I mean, let's just be real. They have a real problem on college campuses right now because people like Charlie Kirk and others, not just Charlie Kirk, but others, are going around and pushing back hardcore on the rhetoric that they spew. Okay, they don't like that. They're getting a lot more pushback everywhere across the board politically because their policies have failed. And all you have to do is look at New York City, Chicago, Denver, and all of California, and you see that the policies have failed. So when you go into a city like Boston or um, Pittsburgh or somewhere like that, they're like, no, we don't want any. Get out of here. And the Democrats only have so many cards to play. And my personal opinion is they're just about played out. Now, I could be wrong. I probably am. But I feel like they're played out. I feel like that right now they're just hanging on to hang on. And especially if Kamami does not get elected, okay, which right now, man, it's tough to call because you just don't know how much of the information is false. But if she gets elected, I'll be surprised. If she doesn't get elected, best case is it's going to be Vance in 28. But the worst case for the Democrats is Trump's going to go scorched earth because he's going to be so pissed. They've tried to kill him. What attempt number are we on now? Like 4? We're on 4 now. I don't know, but he's been, they've literally tried to kill him. They've gone after his money. They've ruined, they've gone after his good name. They just won't stop.
Yeah, well, the way I see it is, we have to keep setting the groundwork on 2 specific fronts. The first one, otherwise they're going to come back with a vengeance, okay? Because you're talking about 16 plus years of, unelected bureaucracy that's buried its deep, anchors into our government and trying to influence state levels and stuff like this. But also, it's why social media is so important because they can't come out like shows like yours and people that are growing. I got to advocate for that stuff because if you look at the past, you got to a certain point and then they come after you. I mean, now it just came out recently, and I'm going to preface this by saying, I don't know for sure because I'm not like, the blue-haired coomers that just spew crap like it's truth.
Right.
But supposedly that whole Russian story about those people that social media influencers about Russia, that might be wrong. Like there might be some, there might be some back.
That's what I said in the beginning.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I mean, they're going to come after you. You basically, until we fix this problem, once you get in, the way I see it, you might have a 4-year shelf life before you get big enough, and they start coming after you, as far as like growing your show and whatnot. So I'm like,
well, it's an interesting thing because one of the things that the Democrats did that. I mean, there's a couple of things there. First of all, the Democrats have kind of made their own bed and now they have to lay in it. And I don't know that they really want to. And I think Roland Thorne is right. The Democrats didn't realize that that Republicans would adopt the technology that they had adopted and would use it just as well, if not better. I think that they were really counting on, the viral videos of George Floyd, for example. That made that the Democrats didn't even have to say anything. That made the case for them, right? Because even if somebody said, you could have an expert say, nope, there's nothing wrong with that. Just the look of it, the angle it was taken at, and everything. It just and the way they were able to edit it, it was able to look bad. And they thought, okay, great, we've got these guys. The problem is that the Republicans in this one case or the conservatives have been quick learners, and we've learned to audit, and we've learned to be just as rough, like the guy down in Florida that does the Second Amendment audits, where he carries a loaded AR pistol slung and a handgun holstered, and which is legal to do while he's fishing. And so he just walks, down the shore carrying this stuff, and of course, people call cops on him, and he has sued and won several times, and to the point that the cops don't even bother him anymore because they finally have to actually enforce the law as written. And this is the same technique that we have to use politically, is that we have to vote those guys out. We have to make it hurt when they make a mistake. If we don't, we're just going to be we're just gonna end up where we're at. And I don't think that Democrats really realized how bad it was going to be when they stirred all this up. Pardon me. Now, on the other side of that coin, I think young people today are very extreme one way or the other. Either they're really conservative or they're really left. There's not really a bunch of middle ground, and we need to encourage that middle ground to some degree, because extremists ruin everything. So that's a problem we have. But we need to. But first, let's regain a measure of competency in our various political offices, and people have to get involved. You just have to. You can't sit around and just watch it go by. You have to get out of your car and walk over there and take a look at it. So
a trucker got elected in New Jersey and almost unopposed. It was amazing. A Republican, and I was like, to me, that proves you can do it. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, and people, look, if you're a likable person, and you kind of sort of know what you're talking about, but you have good policies and good people, people that can give you good policy, run for office yourself. Why would you not? We have to get off the sidelines. We have to. And the thing is, I think more people than ever are off the sidelines. I think more people than ever are paying attention. There are more and more shows like this. And this brings me to my second point about the tenant media thing. The tenant media and what was the other one? The Alex Jones deal. What's his
Sandy Hook thing?
Yeah, what was the name of his media company? It doesn't matter.
I forget. Yeah,
News, not Newsmax. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the mainstream media hates us. First of all, it's harder to control the narrative when you have 50 people a day screaming the same thing, right? Like, you hear it from me, then you go hear it from Glenn, then you go hear it from Andrew, then you go hear it from somebody else. And then no matter what people say, InfoWars, thank you, seriously, Shelby. I knew that. I don't know why it wouldn't come to my brain. When we're sitting around talking like this, we don't think that much about it, but the mainstream media is really annoyed with YouTube. They can't do anything about it.
Oh yeah, they don't like it at all.
Yeah, they don't like it, and they're willing to throw people under the bus. Now, the tenant media thing, I said all along, it just seemed really weird because they had never said anything pro-Russian. They had said very little pro-Ukraine. Tim Pool is a weird, he's an isolationist. He doesn't believe we should be in any wars. Lauren Chen's never voiced an opinion one way or the other. They nuked 4 years of her channel, or four, I guess maybe more than four, but and 4 different channels. So maybe it was like 6 years and 4 channels, whatever it was. They nuked all of her content off of YouTube, and without proving anything. There's nothing been proven, and it looks like nothing's ever going to be proven. And what my personal opinion is it was specifically designed to do 2 things. First, it was to make Tim Pool think twice about suing Kamami's team for slandering him, because he's got a slander suit against them right now. And the second thing I think they did, I think the second aim was so that little channels like mine would look at it and go, man, I can't afford to go up against, a prosecutor who's trying to put me in jail. And I think that that's a, it's a very real thing.
That's why I'm gonna, when I come up, I always try to say like I'm, not sourcing this information. It's just hearsay at the moment. You got, and to people that are like, F it, just say what you want. You can't. You have to operate within the means that you can at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for the other part about this, to people that are like, oh, he's gonna get in and we're gonna be fine. No, no, no. You have to think about what he's been through in 4 years just to get to this point. Okay. And I'll just name a couple of things. Okay. They tried to kill him multiple times. Okay. They went after him legally. All right.
Yep.
They went after his family. The Republican side, which he was never involved in, have been blamed specifically to him as far as like the Ukraine bill and everything like that. And I mean, the list just goes on and on. So if you think a new candidate's just going to come in and do what he did in the past 4 years, you're nuts. So that's why the content creators are so important, because the pressure has to be kept on even after he's in. Otherwise, we're just going to go right back to the same crap. I mean, look at what they did with the RNC.
I think Vance was such a good pick because I think he can. I think he can win in 28. If he doesn't do anything major league stupid, then I think he's in. Are we not men says 35 trillion in debt. It has to collapse and start fresh. Otherwise, just patching a building that's falling apart. I disagree. 35 million in debt compared to our GDP is not that big a deal. The problem is we have to quit spending hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars on things that don't matter. Like, 150. Actually, I read our total spend for the entire Ukraine war is $275 billion, which is crazy.
That's inaccurate. Let me explain.
Yeah,
So and again, I don't have the news. It is sourced, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not going to throw it out there.
Okay, just just ballpark it.
250 billion in dollars. Another, and now when you add that in with the military reserve assets that we have provided so far,
I was talking just money. We have no idea how much we've given them in equipment.
I've been tracking it. It's 500 billion. Yeah, 500 billion plus in our assets, and it pissed me off this week because I just read another story, and I was going to bring this up on your previous show, but I always run out of time. But Biden just announced that they're going to do another 8 billion in military assets to them. And so what they do is they have this scam where they give all of our military crap to them, and then they come to Congress and say, "Oh, we need more funding to replenish our ammo." And it's ridiculous. Do you remember the Hawaiian fire story? $700 to people's fires, houses burned in Hawaii. Right. Now, what both people don't realize is they approved an emergency package where they put through there. They go, oh, we need $700 per person that lost a house in a Hawaii fire, which is ridiculous. But they approved 50 billion or 25 billion to Ukraine in an emergency fund for Hawaii. And so it's like they sneak this crap in. That's where all the money's going. That's why the
Are we not men just sent me the U.S. debt clock, which is if you've never seen it, it's very interesting. I'm not I don't know if I want to share it on a screen. Let me pop it out by itself.
But that's why it's important we get our guys in Congress as well, not just in the presidency, because they vote on the funding bills.
Right. Yeah. It's
And that's
the
why I
lower
said,
level is really where we need to do. What we have to do, first of all, there's a couple of things that can be done. Number one, we have to quit giving money away. We need to exit the UN. We need to exit uh, NATO, and just we need to close down probably, other than Germany, Turkey, Korea, probably the Philippines. We need to close down all the other military bases. We don't need a military base in Japan. We don't. You know, I know the
what,
troops love it. I know everybody wants
what
to be
about
stationed
what
there.
about Guam? What about Guam?
Well, Philippines is right there. So
Okay, yeah,
you
that's
could
what
pick,
you're
I
saying.
don't care. Pick one. Guam, Philippines,
Mm.
Australia. Australia could cover Philippines and Japan if if you're
Yeah,
based in Australia. I mean, it's just basically pick a zone, right? We're just gonna we're going from a spot defense to zone, right? And so we just got just cut our expenditures for is Guam Coast Guard? I thought Guam was NATO naval base. Um, anyway, so you would need to do that. I think the you have to quit giving away. Well, basically, we'd have to cut all foreign aid basically to zero or as close to it
well,
as we.
I did the math on this, so if anyone wants the reference, there's a document called the Afghan Papers. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if anyone's heard about it, but it essentially covers the funding that they allocated through Afghanistan. In 20 years, it's upwards of $1 trillion. Now, if you do the math regarding if you add everything up with Ukraine, it's 3 times the rate of Afghanistan in 20 years. It's
Mm.
crazy. So I think we need to get the hell out of that. I get out of that war. Like you were talking about the UN and NATO and stuff like this.
The problem I have with it is we're the only ones that pay. You know what? Like it's like let's say that you and I were part of a club, and we all went out to eat every Friday after whatever event. Actually, let's say that we had an event every weekend, and we go to the event, and you and all the other guys were like, oh shit, I left my wallet at home," and I pulled out my wallet and I paid. All right, I'm like, yeah, that's all right. I'll get you this time. And then we all go to dinner, and you guys are like, oh man, don't have wallets. I guess we'll just go home. Ah, no, I got you. I'll pay for dinner too. And then you all get ready to go home, and everybody needs gas in the car. So we stop at the gas station, put gas in your car. And we do that like once a week, and you guys always forget your fucking wallets. And that's NATO right there. That's fucking NATO. That's the UN. Is we put all the money in, and and we get zero out of it. Zero.
They almost put us in World War III
Yeah,
during the
right.
remember the State of the Union when Biden was like talking about the very first subject he brought up was the Ukraine war, and the reason for that was because uh, what's the guy from France? I forget the guy's name. Shit. Uh, anyway, that guy he went rogue. Pretty much went rogue because there's obvious corruption going on there. Let's face it. Now, I'm not going to say who it is because I don't know for certain, but there's been references to that. Now, what happened with France was um, they said F it, and we're just going to send, they jumped the gun and we're like, they damn near crossed lines into Ukraine to go help them out because they just felt like doing it. And Biden was like,
Mhm.
whoa, 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 what are you doing? And I'm saying to myself, okay, well, I don't agree with France either. But on the other hand, you give no plan. There's no, like what is everyone doing there except just letting people die, you know?
Well,
And
again,
money
here's my
money
thing.
just flowing.
Here's my whole thing, man. I don't want to be the guy paying for it all. I honestly don't care. I'm isolationist to the point of painfulness. Like, I would honestly say that we need to shut down all military bases outside the US. All of them. Because if we need them, we'll just take them over again. I don't care. You know, just destroy them, turn them back into parking lots, whatever we need to do. Whatever. We could and just pull back, cut off all the funding to England, all the money we give to the entire European nation, line by line. Just like Ireland, you do not get $300,000 for goat's milk this year. You know, England, you do not get $45 million for whatever the fuck we give them money for.
Well, to the
And
informed,
just
it's
literally
ridiculous.
line by line, just go through it and say, fuck it, I'm done. Isolationism. Because if we did that, do you realize how much money we would save every year?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
And the budget,
Absolutely.
and so then if we did that, if we just ceased spending, or pardon me, if we just ceased giving away money that we are never going to get back, that would solve a lot. We could pay off our national debt with no other changes in about 15 years, assuming standard rate of growth and blah, blah, blah. 15 years. That's not long. That's a couple of presidencies. Right? Now, if you want to do it even faster, you come through, you get rid of the IRS, you get rid of a bunch of the federal agencies that don't do anything, and and we cut down on boondoggle programs in the U.S. We spend a massive amount of money. You know what our number one expenditure in the U.S. is? Period. Number one budget item.
Number one budget. Can't
number
be
one thing
national.
that we spend money on. Sorry?
Can't be national defense. No.
Nope. You would think it would be, but no.
Not Social Security. No. Medicaid.
It is Social Security and welfare. Various forms
Yeah.
of welfare, Medicare, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Social Security is a massive spend because we borrowed against it
Right.
instead
pay
of
for other
leaving it
crap.
alone and letting it accumulate. Paperwork, that's good. That's good, TR Finley. I like that. Paperwork is pretty fucking close. Welcome, Michelle. I saw you come in. I'm sorry, I was in the middle of a conversation here. It's going to be really boring to you. There's no degeneracy in the conversation at all. We're talking about very dry things like money and how not to spend it, which women hate. So I'm telling you, dude, like our Social Security spending is absolutely jacked. Like, you have no idea how bad it is. Like, and it's because we keep robbing it to pay other countries money, to give them money. So if the problem is we have to go through and fix everything, right? You have to operate it like a business. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, like if we just had if we just gave Trump free reign and we said, look, man, just go through line item the budget, get your red ink out, and just fucking start cutting.
Pork bill spending, to outside
and it
sources.
would just you'd be amazed at how
So
much
we had in 4 years, okay, which is unusual. Usually it's a debt ceiling bill every year, right?
Mhm.
And occasional minibus. So in the past 4 years, they had, I think they had two major. Okay, this is not including the yearly debt ceiling bills.
Mhm.
They had two omnibus bills, major omnibus bills,
Mhm.
which is ridiculous. They had three minibus bills, and they all got through. Now, here's the thing. I read a couple. I read a couple of them. $750,000 in the first omnibus bill for an Obama dirt trail. Now, where the hell is this Obama dirt trail? I don't know where it is. You know, it's ridiculous. And gender studies, you know,
Yeah.
several gender studies in the Middle East. Like what? You got to be kidding me. You know, millions and millions of dollars for these off crap, you know, programs, and they're obvious scams, and
Yep.
nobody knows where the money's going, really. Now, I think Rand Paul, or if you, yeah, I think he was the one in the Senate that brought up this point that there's an auditor for these specific types of you know, monetary plans, and they, you know, of course, the bad guys are in power. So what do? Nope, we got to vote that they can't have an auditor. So it's not that it's not bad enough that they spend it, but the
We don't
auditor
want
is
you to
not
know how
there.
they spend it.
Exactly. I mean, I think another one was for like the gender studies of fish in certain like wildlife, you know, whatever. Obviously, these aren't going to what they're saying it's going to. I mean, that's you know, my take. It's not factual evidence, but you know, you could read between the lines with a lot of this stuff. You know, seven
Yeah,
hundred
no,
fifty thousand
I
dollars
get it,
for
man.
an Obama dirt trail. Like, I could just take a shovel and make my own damn dirt trail if I want to walk a dog. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, you know, again, the number one expense, you know, honestly, you could have all of those giveaway programs if you cut out all foreign spending, because then you wouldn't be robbing the Social Security account to pay Social Security. And also, the other place where we could actually get ahead is by reducing the amount of welfare coverage that we spend. And also, while I'm thinking about it, the other place where we really need to where we would actually save a lot of money is in the um, and I guess this is probably part of the welfare system as well as the prisons and the entire criminal industry that we have in this country. Um, it's very interesting how much it costs, and a lot of it is like really stupid shit too. Like in Colorado, for example, if you get a DUI and it's, let's say it's your first DUI, and they give you they put the immobilizer thing in your car where you have to blow in it to be able to drive. Well, not only do you have to pay for that thing, usually cash, which you probably don't have. You have to have it installed in your vehicle by a certain date. Again, if you don't, it's a fine. You have to go to weekly meetings. If you miss them, it's a fine, or you get whatever agreement that you made with a court is violated, and now you get arrested again, which you have to bail out, which is more money. So basically, our to some degree, our criminal justice system keeps people in the system rather than just smacking their hand or doing whatever punishment that's appropriate, which most of these punishments are not appropriate, um, and then sending them back out there. And it's really about money. And the problem is that it costs more money than it generates, which is shocking, but it's true. um, and so the American taxpayer is horribly abused, and we could fix a lot of it if we just had across the board. Actually, if we just had some minor reforms, the larger reforms would occur almost naturally. If we got rid of uh, omnibus bills, right, where you could not have a bill that had more than two parts, part A and part B, and we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and it couldn't be any longer than 4 sheets of paper, a cover sheet, 2 sheets of describing what you want to do and how you're going to do it, and a closing statement. That's it.
Yeah, well, we got to get our guys in Congress. That's it.
I know.
I
Again,
mean,
and that goes right back to what I keep saying is it
yep.
has to start low. It has to start with you. It has to start with everybody in the chat right now. Everybody that everybody the chat knows that all you guys have to go out and say, you have to vote and we have to change this.
You have to identify
Are we
the
not men?
good
That's absolutely not true. That's not true at all. That's backwards. That's a nihilistic aspect of it, but it's definitely not true. I know
Like
people who are in politics that did not get there by doing what they're told at all.
like Matt Gates, right? Out of Florida. I mean, he
Yeah.
doesn't take any lobbyist money. I would encourage
It's not
anyone.
true. Are we not men? I'm sorry. You're just wrong on this one. I'm sorry.
Like he's got his own channel, Gates. It's called
Yeah.
Fireman. It's 24 hours live. You can go there and leave him a message if you want. But there's a group they're called the Freedom Caucus. They advocate for
Yeah, I've heard of it.
yeah, they advocate for single subject spending bills, meaning you can
Yeah.
only pass one thing at a time and vote it on. And of course, that's why I said
And the votes are recorded.
Yes. Yep.
No more of these blind bills. I don't know if you paid attention to the race in Texas between Brandon Herrera and I forget the other guy's name. It's just such a
Yeah, I like
common
that.
Mexican name like Hernandez or something like that. That he was the incumbent Republican. Obviously, Herrera is not really a Republican; he's conservative, but he's a I don't know that I would call him a Republican, but he ran on the Republican ticket. Whatever his name, Herrera, whatever his name
Yeah, I
was.
think it's Herrera. I thought you meant Moreno.
Brandon Herrera, and maybe it's Moreno's the guy that actually kept his seat. Brandon Herrera is a YouTuber, he's a gun tuber technically. Good, super good guy though. And the entire district was angry because the existing Republican, right, and like Super Rhino too, and maybe his name was Moreno. I forget what his name was. Had actually passed some gun control legislation. They didn't want to stand up to they didn't want to take a stand on what was right. And so what he did, Herrera is like, I'm going to run, and he did, and he did raise and spend about $1 million. Now some of that was his own money, but most of it was money that he raised through the various organizations that do that sort of thing. And he was only 400 votes from defeating the incumbent that spent $10 million. And the incumbent had been in office for some time. It wasn't like it was his first trip through. So you can win. And honestly, I think the only reason that Herrera lost that battle is he just didn't have the time in the day to spend that the other guy did, and he just needed to do that a little more. And it was his first time. He was just kind of super amateur at it. He didn't know where to go, what to do, that kind of thing. And he could have gotten those. He could have gotten another 500 or 600 votes and handily won, and he might next time. But just because you think that it's the fix is in across the board, well, that's bullshit. That's wrong. If that's the case, then you might as well move to China now and just become a communist.
Yeah, we got 5. We got 5 new ones coming. Good guys. And that guy Moreno out of Ohio, he's a private business owner, successful, good guy, family man, Christian, I think. He entered because he same thing. He didn't like the way things were going, and he sold his business specifically to run. And the problem is the bad guys, they identify who these people are, and that they'll spend millions of dollars to
Mm-hmm.
specifically go after these people.
Yeah,
Like Ted
absolutely.
Cruz, Ted Cruz out of Texas. I mean, Soros, he's going hard after Cruz.
Yeah, the problem
And
with Soros trying to spend all that money to get rid of Cruz is he has zero fucks to give. Now, look, I don't personally like Cruz that much. I think his policies, which are really the only thing that matter to me, his policies are pretty good, right? We agree. He and I agree more often than not on policy. But as a person, I wouldn't want Ted Cruz for a neighbor. You know what I mean? Maybe you would. I don't know. But the one thing I can say about him, man, is he doesn't back down. And, I'm sure that it would be very easy for him to not spend the money that he not spend the time he has to get the money he needs to continuously win these elections.
right.
It would be easier for him just to say, "Ah, fuck it, I'm just going to stay home this year." But every year, dude, he's out there. He's in the trenches. He's making it happen.
He
So
wants to shut the border. That's good enough for me at the moment.
yeah,
My thing is just stop the bleeding. Then we can worry about the other
yeah,
stuff. But we have to identify the good guys.
right.
That's what we have to do now. So we got 5, like I said, 5 new ones coming. There's 11 in Congress right now. So you're telling me we can't stop them with 11? We already got rid of McCarthy. How did that happen? We didn't even have the 15, and we still got rid of McCarthy. He tried to
Yeah,
make
true.
a backroom deal with Biden over the border in Ukraine, and a handful of people saw it, and they were like, "No, we're not voting." You know what I mean? That's the first time in decades that a House Majority Leader ended up getting voted out of power. That never happens. So we are making progress. It is happening. You just
Are we
have
not
to
men? It's
keep
not
getting.
rigged, bro. Dude, it just isn't. Listen to what we're saying, man. We're winning step by step by step by step. That's why Trump's going to win again. You think it's rigged that
Yeah,
Trump's going to win? You think that's rigged? You think it's rigged that Adams got kicked out? Well, I don't know anybody that doesn't care about money. I'm just going to be honest. I care about money.
right.
So, I mean, I care about money. I care about policy. I care about money too. I don't care if somebody makes
Right.
money if they have good policy. That's fine. I don't care about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's another guy, Brandon Gill out of Texas. I think he's in District 2. I could be wrong, but he's
Yeah.
there's a couple of good guys, and this is what makes me laugh. They fly under the radar and they get in, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're a powerhouse, because now they can't look at Manchin. I don't like the guy very much, but he has been such a nightmare to them with the slim, majority either way in voting. And because Manchin is in a West Virginia district that doesn't like Democrats, he's had to be middle of the ground even through their power reign. And
Yeah.
he's been confronted in bathrooms, and people have doxed him. One guy came up to him in a press conference and literally tried to fist fight him. He stood up and knocked the guy out cold right there. I mean, so
Yeah.
I don't particularly like Manchin, but he is middle of the ground. I will say that, like, for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting that RFK right now has more support than most of the left does. Like that should tell you something. So we don't live in a fallen world, are we not, man? You're in a mood today, man. Go get some ice cream or something.
I used to be the same way, but then the thing is uh, you know, once you get to that dead end, you kind of have to look deeper and start reading policy, start looking into your own local stuff, and you'll find the good stuff here and there, and you'll see
Yeah.
like, okay, you know, there is hope. Um, you just have to make people aware. I mean, if I could, I keep saying I'd love to start a news channel, not do live stream, but just like, you know, kind of like uh, put a news story out there and let people read it or whatever. Kind of like how the you know, the online press network is and stuff. Because
Being a
you
Christian doesn't mean that I believe in a great reset. Are we not, men? I believe I believe in the basic good nature of humans, and I believe that given the opportunity, they will perform in a way that's honorable. The ones that won't, you have to remove from society, or just not allow them to have any actual power. The problem is that that's not been happening. We need to correct that. That's what people do. We see things, we correct them. That's not how you meant that, are we not, men? And you know it. Come on now. Joe Mobley, I don't know how they do it over there. I don't know how he does it either. I think what he does, I honestly think that he just sits there with it muted watching anime and just laugh. So so um anyway.
so yeah,
Uh Go
they're
ahead.
trying to
Sorry.
they're trying to squeeze another bill in before they get out, which I'm like, oh God, they want to do
Be
more
another one about
damage.
immigrants voting, probably.
Oh man, and I'm sitting here and I'm going Mike Johnson. Okay, so you know, we covered this about a month ago about how they were trying to get the Save Act passed. Remember that
Yeah.
one?
Yeah,
For
I
anyone
remember.
in the chat who doesn't know, the Save Act is a bill they're trying to get to prevent to anyone who votes has to prove citizenship before they're voting, and they're highly against it. So on the House Republican side, they said, okay, we're not going to pass any funding because the yearly debt bill is coming up, the one that shuts down the government before Christmas, the one that everyone caves on.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, oh, okay, we finally have a spine. They're not going to pass it. And then all of a sudden, I think about a week ago, this is when I was pissed. Remember, I came on the show Monday and I was like, they backtracked, and I said, oh, they released a news story on Sunday, not thinking anyone was watching, about
Yeah.
how they're gonna sweep it under the rug and they're just gonna pass that bill through without the. But like you said, they're definitely going to come back to this about the voting thing, because once he gets in, because you have to understand the Republican side of the equation. You have two bad sides on the Democrats: the pro CCP wing, the pro Islamic wing. On the Republican side, you have the populists, the good guys, and then you have the rhinos, the war hawks. And so the war hawks, we're not just against the crazy lunatics on the other side. We're going against the war hawks as well. And
Yeah.
and so they they want to eliminate the populists without giving power to the bad guys on the other side. Which, the fortunate thing for us is, we're purging the Republican Party. We're getting rid of all the bad actors that
Well,
keep
we're
stabbing
trying.
them in
We
the back.
can't actually say that we are. We're just saying we can say we're trying.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we got rid of McCarthy. We got rid of McConnell's gone. It's about to be gone. Um, so here's a good question for you. Who do you think should be the Republican majority leader? Like, McConnell's position.
Well, I never
You,
liked
you,
McConnell.
yeah, they call him the turtle. Turtle,
Yeah.
turtle.
See, I thought Jim Jordan was like the perfect choice.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
he's great.
but I don't know why Jordan, again, and so all right. Now remember, before McConnell got it, Jordan was like the guy, right? And then what happened? Like all of a sudden it's McConnell, and I'm like, what? Why? Why? How did that guy get it? But apparently he made some deal somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Well, we all know. Now I could be wrong about this, but
mhm,
and I'm not being prejudiced, but
sure.
his wife is you know, I forget what business they had. It was something to do with the CCP, with shipping. And so, it could be that he's compromised through the other side on as far as like the pro CCP wing of
No,
the
that
Democrat.
I don't believe that. I think he's just everything he's done has been middle of the road. Like it's like he doesn't want to piss off. It's like he doesn't want to piss off the left. He's trying to be the bridge across troubled waters. Like he's trying to create a legacy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to be like I'm the guy that made all of this happen. And it just didn't. It just hasn't worked. So
What a nightmare that he's been. I mean,
yeah, he caught a lot of shit last week, didn't he? I mean, that was crazy town. So
they got to get their shit together. I mean, we got to get our guys in and become the majority part
yeah,
of the Republican side. That's the way I see it. You know.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's an interesting thing for sure. You know, I think we know what we need to do. The interesting thing is, I feel like that we know as citizens, we know what needs to be done, right? We know, you know, single item bills, um, term limits, all of that. So the public knows we've got to get the people out of office that are blocking that, and we're getting closer and closer. You know, that sort of thing. Cam the King, fairy tale talk today. Yeah, I mean, not really. A lot of the things that at least Mr. and I are talking about have either actually happened or stand a good chance to happen. Although obviously my ideas of policy are fairy tale talk because I do not influence policy. Um, so I don't know what's going on there, but glad to discuss it. Um, do you ever have anything intelligent to say, or do you just go straight for ad hom?
Let me just comment on this real quick because this is
Sure,
a
man.
common This is a common tactic by leftists. Okay, saying that all people on the right are fascists. That is a lie taught in college. Yes, you're lying, by the way. I don't know who taught you that in college, but that reference comes from Mussolini, who was a self-proclaimed socialist authoritarianist. So let me tell you something about that. Okay, whoever taught you that, they're turning you into a fascist or a communist. Okay, that's essentially they're the ones indoctrinating you. So I would go back and look at that because essentially what you have to identify is what's the proper definition of fascist. You can't just say all right wing are fascist. You can't do that. That's not true. All right.
I would argue
So
that more leftist or fascist, but
absolutely. But to them, their premise, okay, from the jump is all right wing is fascist.
mhm.
That's just not true. I'm sorry, it's just not true.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
in a sense, they're indoctrinating when your source of that information is an authoritarian socialist. You better
Mhm.
rethink your base ideology. I mean,
Sure.
it's just stupid thinking.
Yeah.
All right wing are fascist. I mean, give
I
me a
go with that.
break.
So, um, Cam the King, has anyone been paying attention to all the communism symbolism like the rising sun shown in political ads? I haven't seen it, but the rising sun would be Japanese, which would be imperial, not communist. Am I wrong? Tell me what I'm missing. And then he says, because Grid says most people are good, they are. Like I don't have a problem. I think most people want to do the right thing. I think most people are also greedy and inept. And if people know how inept they are, then they will lose their shit. What's up, Beaten Cheeks? Believes in Haitians eating cats, Civil War talk. Oh, you're a liberal. I just thought you were weird. You're a liberal. Okay, I got
I
you.
said I can identify them right from the jump. When they come
I
out with that rhetoric, you know exactly how they've been lied to and why they think they
Yeah,
are.
it's an interesting thing, the eating cats thing, because apparently they actually have been eating ducks and geese and that sort of thing. I don't know where the cat thing came from. Maybe that was just some rhetoric put in by a newspaper guy. The interesting thing is that it was actually put out in an article that somebody ate a cat. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I saw that they were grilling the cat, and it was plainly obvious.
Yeah, I
And
don't
that's the
know.
thing.
I mean,
I've been kicked off multiple shows for
so if you're not a liberal, what's your philosophy? Are you an anarchist? Because anarchists
uh,
are ultimate liberals.
but they say the whole the so-called air
Radical
quotes.
socialist. Well, it's a
Yeah,
liberal.
yeah,
That's a
radical
left.
socialist. Yeah, he's definitely a leftist. Um, but the Ukraine funding, bipartisan Ukraine funding bill, I was kicked off a show for calling in for that. And what I said was their lie rhetoric that they're trying to pass to their indoctrinated liberals is that it was a bipartisan bill that Trump shut down. Trump wasn't even in power, and so when I
Yeah.
brought this up, they're like, "No, it's misinformation." I'm like, "Misinformation? It had $60 billion to Ukraine. Tell me how, in any way, shape, or form, is that related to a border bill that they only put eight billion towards?" And they're like, "No, no, no." And they wouldn't answer the question. They just go, "You're banned." I'm like,
Yeah.
"You got to be
Yeah. It's
kidding me."
interesting how much is getting blamed on Trump while he wasn't in office. It's very funny. Silvar Ogre says, pardon me. The more interesting thing is Kamala using joy right out of National Socialism. That's very interesting.
Yeah, they're the socialists. They want. See, here's the problem, and this is my challenge to that guy in the chat. If socialism is the way to a so-called utopian society, okay, where has it been implemented properly? Where has it succeeded? Never.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is it always centralizes power. Someone's always going to take it for themselves, and then they're going to go to farmers and they're going to go, "Oh, we need all your crops. You're screwed." And they're going to hand it out to only people that support them. So don't try and come in here and be like, "Oh, the utopia is such a good thing." That's just you crying because you're not getting your way. That's it. You know?
So Cam the King, the rising sun shown between two peaks is not a communist symbol. If China used it before World War II, because China before World War II was imperial. It was imperial China. Chiang Kai-shek was he I think his Eastern title was prime minister, but basically he was like high chancellor or something like that. I'm not really sure that I have a Chinese version of that. But just, accuracy matters, guys. It just, if we start seeing monsters in the weeds when there are no monsters in the weeds, then we're kind of hosed.
All right, socialist. Fastest growing GDP. Fastest growing GDP. What does that have to do with anything I just said? You just kicked the ball down the road. It's got nothing. Money doesn't matter in a term of this so-called socialist utopia that you're talking about.
Move to China.
Okay?
Well, actually,
Yeah.
probably he probably can't move to China because they won't have it. And
Now
obviously,
let me ask this to this moron. Okay, GDP for who? For only your guys?
and actually,
How is
hold
that
on,
true?
I gotta smack this. I gotta smack this guy down. So first of all, obviously he's never been to China. China is the most capitalistic place on the planet. The only thing communist about it is the government, which relies on the taxes from the capitalism to operate. And that's the only place it's communist. There's no, I mean, and the government is hanging on by a thread. It's not, there are no bread lines there. There's none of that nonsense like you have in Russia. And the number one complaint, by the way, so every 10 years, is it 10 years, 5 years? I think maybe 5 years. The Chinese have a survey for all citizens. It's anonymous, and you get to write in I think it's the top 10 things that you would like to see improved about the country. We should do that in the U.S., by the way. That seems like a thing to do. And and nobody can be, obviously nobody can be hunted down about it. So you just make your mark and, say, well, I think this is this. And the number one thing for the past, like, however many years has been corruption. And it after the third year that it was taught as the number one line item of dissatisfaction by the populace in China, I think after the third year, the Chinese government went on a massive hunt and to stamp out corruption at all levels. And they basically, and I happen to have been over there during that for about a month or so. And like every day you would read about, some official getting arrested because he had taken bribes, or he had he had given someone or told someone to certify a building that was they saying it was built correctly when it wasn't. They sold off the materials or something. And it's a very interesting place. Now they have their problems, like they have a very strange idea what IP is, right? Which is a culture thing more than anything else. They have a lot of problems, but they're not the best communist. They're not a true communist country. Russia is close to a true communist country, but Russia was failing until Putin took over. And now it's not even, I don't know that it's communist as much as it's a dictatorship. Or albeit what do they call it? A benevolent dictatorship. Would that be closer to it, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
You think
But
it's, yeah.
the thing that bothers me about the way that these people think is they completely ignore the ugly side of it. Like, they have to centralize power. They're going to go to people. They're going to steal stuff from them, and they're fine with that. I guess they're fine with, oh, let me go to this guy's farm and because we need so many all this food for these people that are friends. We're going to completely screw over this guy that worked his ass off.
Fucking insane.
Like, they don't care. They I
think
can't
that's
get on
what
board
Russia really is right now. Can we really say it's a communist country? They don't have a Politburo right now. There are no oligarchs. Is it a communist country, or is it a benevolent dictatorship? That's just a question. I'm just asking questions, man. I don't know. That's why I got to ask. I'm stupid. You guys got to help me out here.
Yeah, I think it's partly a dictatorship because you look at the way China is run, and Xi, you have to agree with him or he just gets rid of you right away.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah, but that's a Chinese trait, though, right? Like they're not like us. They lack sympathy to a large degree.
Yeah, well, I would say that Russia is a little different because Putin will have his own advisors, but he just wants yes men,
Well,
like
Putin has competent advisors, and he either listens to them or he does not, and that's just the way that is.
Yeah.
coming in.
Mr. Boulay and the Department of Numismatics donated $20. Super
Thank you.
Chat. Senate Bill S. 3589 sponsors N. Markey, DMA, Preventing Private Paramilitary Activity Act of 2024.
Legit. That's legit. Do you guys all hear that? Did that come through okay? Smoky Guru, I'm going to thank Nixon and Kissinger for the reason capitalism helped show China a better way. Okay.
No, this is my argument to the socialists. Let's be real. This utopian society that they think is magically gonna appear, it's never gonna happen. Okay. You know, the thing with capitalism, what you know, if you abide by the law, it works. Now, every argument I could see that they come to why capitalism is wrong is because somebody didn't follow the law in some way, shape, or form. Now, that's not the fault of capitalism itself. I don't think. I think it's just because the laws need to be upheld. You know, and is it perfect? No, but show me where anything better. You know, where is it better? And if it is, why aren't you there? You know, like you were saying, you like it over there. Go
I
ahead.
mean, look, and let me be blunt. I own property in China, right? Like I do. I have because my wife's Chinese, and her family owns. We actually own like I think 4 properties there now. Maybe we had 5. I think we sold one. I'm pretty sure. And I don't live there, and they don't live there. They live here. Why would they live there? Right? Like they much prefer it here than there.
Yeah, we have people coming here. So it's you know, it's so bad here. Oh man, can't take it. Yeah. Ridiculous.
I'm not
You know.
biased towards China. I just happen to understand it a little bit. I actually think China's pretty messed up, to be honest with you. But I don't like. I dislike the intellectual dishonesty. I have a problem with that for some reason.
Yeah, like I just admitted that capitalism has its faults. But again, I'm not stupid enough to think that there's some you know, utopia that is sitting out there that we're all going to get to where everything's, you know, rainbow farts and sunshine.
Yeah,
and everyone you know, that's
I'm sorry. The stupid thing about this whole thing is that if you haven't been to China, you don't realize that they are literally the most capitalistic people on the planet. Everybody wants to be in business. Everybody wants to make money. There are more new millionaires. I don't know if it's that way now, but when I was going over there pretty regularly, there were more new millionaires a week or a month or whatever than anywhere else in the world. But that was because of capitalism, not communism. Okay, we gotta get it straight. It's because of capitalism. That's what I'm saying. You know. And that was the good part of it. Now there are bad parts, and you can't get around the bad parts. You just can't get around the bad parts. You can't own firearms there. Period. Ever. Can't do it. What you can buy and can sell as far as your property can be and often is restricted. If the government doesn't want you to buy a building, you cannot buy a building. You just can't. This is the way it is. So you think that you think you have it bad. Anyone that thinks they have it bad here has no idea. There's no idea. They're dumb as fuck. Like, go travel and you'll see how good you have it. I have $1.99 from the Raging Tomato. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for sponsoring Michelle's Bird. Absolutely no problem at all. It was happy to do it. Happy to do it. How big is my trust? Oh, no. How? Well, I mean, that's a good question. Let me see what John Smith has to say here. What did you do to convince the Chinese government to allow you to buy property there? My family, my extended family are able to buy property there. But no, normal people can't buy property in China. Absolutely not. Just going to tell you that right out of the gate. This is accurate. That's accurate. There's John Smith. Well, at least you won't be drunk. What's up, John Smith?
Hey, don't count on it so soon.
Don't count on it. It's a little early in the day.
No, I'm kidding. No, I was asking because kind of just a little curious. What do I gotta do to go buy a property down there? But you answered that. So.
It's incredibly. It is actually. I think it is possible now for foreigners to buy property in China, but it's incredibly difficult. Like it's far worse than buying property anywhere else in the world.
Okay. I thought if like sleeping with a Chinese spy was involved, maybe I would consider it, but.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that gets you in. The Raging Tomato says, "I helped make her day so much better. It was no problem at all, really." Yeah, your PayPal donation from CCP clears. That's funny. Still oppose China and Russian militarily to the highest. Yeah, that's true. Look, they're not allies, guys. But you don't look. You just can't. You can't just hate people just to hate people. You can hate their government. Hate their government. That's fine.
Well, if you hate all people, just to hate all people, is that okay? Like if you're an introvert.
I used to hate all people equally. I've come a little bit. I backed down from that a little bit.
Okay.
So I've come down from that a little bit. Now I just hate most people equally.
Yeah, I can work with that, like you have your close group of friends or family members or like even just your neighbors. I'm good with that. Everyone else, like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm like most people. I just want to go to work, come home, have a catch up with my kids, and then eat a good meal, and then live a decent life. It's not too much to ask for.
I think that guy gave up. That was too easy.
Yeah, well, they, in my experience, the pro-socialists bounce when you start, exposing their ideology as misinformation, a lie taught from college that's indoctrinating the country right now.
My man Joe Mobley, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, Joe Mobley, good to see you again.
Hey guys, doing pretty well. How are you all?
Is his volume low or is it just me?
No, he sounds good.
Sounds okay to me. Maybe a little lower than yours, but it's okay.
I'll
to
turn
me.
my volume up.
Want me to beatbox? You can see. Let's see. Oh, it is a little bit lower than normal. This is me talking to Testa. I don't know if you saw the show this morning, but my mic quit working, and it wasn't. It was the computer stopped recognizing it. I just had to remove it and re-add it.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Anyway, it definitely reset the volume here.
I don't
think it's still low. Okay.
Have you tried just smacking it around? Because whenever my dishwasher stops working, I smack her and it works just fine right after that.
I think John's drunk again.
Tried that.
No, I'm not. My shirt ain't coming off. I ain't drunk.
Well, the camera's not on, so that's a first clue is he's not drunk. Shazzy Bear, I see you out there in chat. Thank you for dropping by. It's a good time. So
I wanted to I wanted to come up and say hey to everyone, but I wanted to at least show this one little piece of let's see if I can get it on here. Nope, that's it's going to show the wrong screen.
While you're messing around with technical difficulties. Oh, is it in the back? Did you just?
No, I just made it I can send you a screenshot of this, but essentially just people have got to realize extremely far right political ideology means no government. It doesn't mean anarchy, it means no government, totally libertarian. All of your terrible dictatorial, authoritarian, totalitarian, whatever different color of control, and whether it's control through ownership, through ownership of the means of production or social, any of that stuff, it's all far left. The linchpin is how much control the government has. And as you increase government control, you're moving to the left. And as you decrease government control, you're moving to the right. Is there such a thing as too far right? In my opinion, yeah, sure. Is there such thing as too far left? Absolutely. The difference is those items on the far left and the people who say that Nazis and fascists are far right, they will never define the terms that make them far right, because you can't. Both of those systems of government, Nazi, remember actually means National Socialist Party, for one. Both of those are far left systems that the government needs total control to operate in, both fascism and Nazism. There's no such thing as right-wing fascism. It's contradictory.
That's true. That's very, very true.
I thought it was like a grid, like the Foursquare, authoritarian on the top, libertarian on the bottom. Well, no, actually, you're right. Then on the rest of it, it's just left and right.
The Foursquare thing is just stupid. I think that's somebody that's trying to dumb it down so that you don't get scared.
Yeah, it's like, oh, if you're right and authoritarian, it's like, okay, but what does right mean then? Or what does left mean then?
If you go to Wikipedia, you'll see right wing as described as fascist, and that's the problem. People don't realize
it's left. I mean, it's literally, it's not the ultimate left, but it's pretty far left.
Yeah. Huh. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you guys here, Grid. I'll pull this down if you want to throw everyone back up. I'll tell you guys how I can be construed as a far leftist. I am for a monarch. And however we feel about it, as a Christian, I recognize that there is a hierarchy, there's an order to the universe, and that and I know this might make me sound like a white supremacist or whatever, but Christ is king. He's a literal monarch. God is Lord, capital Lord. So I would rather live under a righteous king than, an unjust, tyrannical oligarchy or whatever it is that we have. So technically, I'm a far leftist, but only.
I'm going to start saying that too. I am also then in that case a far leftist, because I would also agree with an absolute benevolent monarch who is benevolent, but also
got some
does justice
here. All right. Not Lowe's too. If you want to say something, get the link from Shelby and come up. Sniping from chat is weak sauce. Shows your low T count. Kind of feminine. Maybe you're a girl. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you're a woman. Maybe you're not. I don't know. But if you have something to say, get the link from Sirius Shelby. He's a very nice young man. You can come up.
Where the terms left and right come from? Oh, where'd you get that? Wikipedia, the source that's edited by morons. Sorry.
Most people are right-handed, so right is right, left is wrong. We literally call left-handed wrong-handed, wrong-footed.
Honestly, that's such a weak argument. It's a non sequitur, because it doesn't matter if we.
I'm just being funny.
Now the person in the chat.
I'm having fun with it because he won't come up. He doesn't have the nuts, or she. She doesn't.
Well, she doesn't have the nuts. I think would be grateful for that. But she can up. She can woman up, get up here, if it's a she.
That's kind of funny, because I went on a call-in show, and they're like, "Oh, what's your pronouns?" And I'm like, well, "What is that?" And they're like, "Well, we have to identify you." So I gave them my real name, right? And I said, "Oh, this is who I am. I'm from Northeast PA." and I get in, and I'm talking about, like I said before, the Ukraine crap, and how, and the so-called bipartisan bill that wasn't bipartisan, that had, the border bill that had Ukraine money in it. And they're like, let's just talk about your pronouns for a minute. And I'm like, what? I don't know what that is. What is that? Why do you need that? They're like, oh, we need to know that to identify you. I said, I gave you my name. I'm from PA. How is that not identifying myself? And then they go, oh, that's misinformation. We got to kick you out.
You should have said Big Dick McGee. That's my pronoun.
You should have said Big Tits McGee, and then still confused, because that could go either way.
I put my pronouns on LinkedIn because they allow write-in. I put servant of Christ, which is true.
And we have both Michelles in the chat today. How about that? That's odd.
Welcome in, Michelle's.
Not lows, no lows, whatever. Come on up.
Who's not coming up? Who's
is not lows two guy? The leftist. Leftists never come up. I have found, as we were discussing the other day, that getting a leftist to actually come up on camera, unless it's on their podcast and their show where they control everything and can boot you off or mute you or whatever, they don't have anything to do with it.
Well, that's because they're super authoritarian, because far left is super authoritarian and they want to have all the control.
Yeah. I can't speak for John Smith and Mr. But Notlos, you want to come up, because I know, at least for Grid and myself, I presume for John Smith and Mr. Because Grid and I, we've spoken about this privately. We want to hear from you, and if we're wrong, we want to be convinced. We want to hear the clear and compelling evidence, because we don't enjoy being wrong. If you prove us, if you demonstrate to us, oh crap, we're on the wrong side of this thing, we're happy to come over. We don't want to be on the wrong side just to be obtuse and be on the wrong side.
Right. Seeking truth is what it is. You want the
this
truth.
Is one of the
That's
only
why you can't come up with any
genuinely
more than
do it.
4 beers in you, and even that's a warning sign. If you have more than 4 beers, you cannot come up. If you have 2 beers, it's kind of the danger zone. You're driving. You're always doing something, except when you're time to come up. That's okay. Next time, how about you come up Friday night, 8:00, and come on up, and you can talk all the communism you want.
And that would be great. I recently watched a video, I guess from Jubilee, which was like it was again with Charlie Kirk against 20 liberals, right? And they would all and then they came out with another one. I think was he 17 or 19 years old? 19-year-old, let's just say, liberal,
communist
and he like stood up against 20 conservatives. And first of all, in my opinion, those conservatives were pretty stupid in their argumentation. It was not good at all. But he stood his ground, actually made his arguments. Not that it would convince me, but I said, hey, this guy actually he was not just parroting points. He actually had an argument, and I can respect that. But those conservatives were really not good for that. Pair him up against Charlie Kirk and let's see what happens. Like, that'd be great. That'd be good conversation.
Anson Knowles has been in the communal wine. $5 from Anson Knowles. Grid, since you're in the bird business, I'm not in the bird business. Just happen to help somebody out. Would I sponsor? I'm assuming that he means would you sponsor a few Cornish game hens for me? I'm looking to make some juicy bird for dinner. No, I'm sorry. I can't. Mainly because you live in Alabama, where you can literally walk out of your front door and there's chickens.
So did you all hear the story about the Iranian misinformation campaign?
No, but it's going to be a good one. Been a good show. Definitely make sure and rewind, Michelle. I'm a confirmed spy, evidently. I'm not a spy, but you're a spy.
Or at least
I spy with my little eye. Spies.
There's news of Iranian interference in news lately in election stuff. So now Whenever
Oh,
these,
say it ain't so. Say it
yeah,
ain't
whenever
so.
now, whenever these libtards come in and they want to cry about crap, I'm just going to do what they do. And except this time, I'm going to go, oh, that's Iranian misinformation. And when they try to argue with me, I'm going to go, bye.
That's
No,
awesome.
I don't care. I don't care if it's truthful or not. That's Iranian misinformation. That's what I'm going to do.
Nice.
John Smith sends $2 for the for the corn game hens fun. I think that's a different kind of corn.
Oh, my bad. I was just trying to be helpful.
It's funny. We're having a good time now. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Do they still have Cluck You Chicken? Remember that place?
Why does that sound so
No.
familiar?
It's oh my God, it was so good. It's a chicken place that they used to have where it was like levels of hotness for like chicken and stuff. Really good. I don't know if they still have it, but it was, oh my God, it was excellent. And that was around the time they released Grand Theft Auto. Remember that?
Everybody,
I've never heard of this game before. I'm kidding. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
We used to play GTA while
Go ahead.
eating Fuck You Chicken. We used to play GTA while eating Fuck You Chicken.
There's a clip on CNN of an interviewer or a teacher maybe interviewing an elementary school child. She says, "What's the first word that comes to your head when you hear Kamala Harris?" And he says, "Wine."
Wine.
Oh, that's cool. That's
true.
freaking golden. He's got good parents.
Silvar Ogre says, Grid One, if you were a spy, you would deny it. If
It's true.
Wait, if I wasn't a spy, would I deny it? Interesting.
It's like that video where it was the guy saying, "Once I snap my fingers, you will no longer be gay and you won't remember it." And then he snaps his fingers and the other guy's like, "But I was never gay." And he goes, "Exactly. Do you see?" But no, but I was never. Yes.
That's
tell me
funny.
more. It worked.
Confirmed I am Russian funded. No, unfortunately, I'm not. Somebody needs to fund me. It's not the Russians. I'm hoping for the RNC.
We've already said
Russian.
we'll take the money. I'll whatever Lauren Chen got, 10 million, 100. I'll take it.
That's turning out to be all fake now.
Yeah, I know.
It's I called it. I said, look, there's no way this happens like that. I called it from the word go.
That's Iranian.
It was just a way to nuke her channel and to cast doubt upon conservative commentators, guys.
Right before the election. Again, they did the same thing in 2020. They took down Stephen Crowder. I'm a nobody. They axed my show. My show had 10,000 subs, whatever. They took down Crowder. They took down Tim Pool. They took down the Quartering. They took down all these accounts within 7 to 10 days ahead of the election last time. And now they're doing it through some type of weird lawfare.
Grid is not a spy. His wife is already China compromised, and she's in our financial. Well, my wife is Chinese, and she's in our financial system. Yeah, she had to go through a lot of background checks for that too. The financial system already controls our politicians. China already won. I mean, that's some good fourth level chess right there.
Look, if y'all are looking at getting funded, right? There's this new thing I heard about. It's called the Gamish Cornish game hens thing. I think y'all ought to look into that, and that would fund you.
No, I need money from Russia.
I can't be a Chinese nationalist. I don't know what that is. However, I mean, I own property. Yeah, I'm trying to buy some property in Australia. It's actually harder than it seems like it would be. So.
Oh, speaking of Australia, if you don't mind me going off on a little bit of a tangent
go ahead,
here.
Well, okay, we've been off for a little bit now.
Okay. So I recently went to a World War II museum where I learned a whole lot about Admiral Nimitz. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, Nimitz. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had no idea. I've never even heard this guy's name. There's this whole museum about him, and I was just reading up on it, listening to all the videos, watching like their animations about how the Pacific War was happening. Holy moly, like the biggest naval fights right off the coast of Australia when Japan was like pushing all the way down and got right to the edge of Australia. Friggin' Aussies showing up with Americans on these ships and on these islands. And like, I mean, dude, it was awesome. If anyone wants to learn some stuff, like World War II, all we see is Germany and stuff. But like, this was an entire different aspect that I thought Hitler, did his thing. And then the European side was won. And then we bombed Japan and it was over. But no, there was like so much more going on. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's like a whole war.
Yeah, almost a whole war. Yeah. But also, Nimitz was an incredibly humble man. When they said they wanted to make this museum for him, he said, "Don't make it for me. Make it for every service member who served under me instead." Which, I mean, he did that when he was offered the position of admiral. He refused it because there were 50 other people that had seniority over him. But then Pearl Harbor happened, and a lot of them died. So then he was just appointed. And I mean, what an incredibly humble man. Very, very generous when you look at his family's philanthropy and stuff. I mean, they don't make men like that, or they haven't made men like that in a long time. But that's like, that I think is someone to really look up to, read into the history. It was fascinating.
Well, history is, you should always read into history. I mean, you and read not just what the people themselves write about, the autobiographies that are co-written usually with someone else, but read what other people that have studied them and looked at them and heard their speeches. one of the things that I really liked is my perception of MacArthur was like horrible, right? Because he fled Corregidor, left the Philippines. He did say, remember MacArthur's last speech was, "I will return." And that's kind of the "I'll be back" from the Terminator. And he was based in Australia. That's what you're basically talking about is MacArthur was fighting the war using clandestine teams, which a lot of people don't even realize how much action the Marine Raiders saw in the Pacific. And most of the work the Marines did in World War II that really made their legend was in the Pacific. And the Marine Raiders were really, really cutting edge. I mean, they were doing rubber boat ops before anybody else. They were using plastic to encapsulate supplies and equipment so that it wouldn't get wet, so that they could do the submarine missions where they would literally like get thrown out of a submarine and in the middle of the ocean and rubber boat to the shore. And keep in mind, this wasn't like today where that's just, we have a training course to do this. This was like, they were making this shit up on the fly. And MacArthur was part of that. And he was just a really cool dude anyway. He spoke in the royal we, right? Like, we are going to do this. When he was a very specific person. He took his wife with him to every posting. Even when he fled Corregidor, she fled with him. Think about that. Think about how tough his wife had to be. He's just an amazing man. Like, he was, and a lot of people really hate MacArthur. They really,
and the admiral that surrendered to him, he had met back in like early 1900s on a different battle, where they together like wiped out a Russian fleet or something. And it was when he was just like an ensign or whatever you call it, a private, the lowest rank. Anyway, like he met that guy, and we're talking 40 some odd years later. He's an admiral, the other guy's an admiral, and now they're fighting each other to the death. And when Japan finally surrendered, he positioned security guards around that guy's ship to make sure that the U.S. Navy personnel would not go and tag it up or try to, dismantle it for souvenirs and stuff. Like, he knew that Japan values honor, and he was like, I'm gonna honor you as a fellow admiral your ship was not going to be dismantled. We will protect it, you know. So I mean, it was just really, really humble guy, really cool guy.
Yeah. So Joe Mobley, we're going to have outspoken Samantha on tomorrow night. I actually need to communicate with her about the topic for tomorrow night's show. It's going to be a good one, I think. I think she's going to bring a lot to the program. So that'd be awesome.
She's a Republican.
Yeah, she ran for office.
Yeah.
Isn't that a tough district, Colorado?
It was in Colorado, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, she lives in Dallas area now. No, she's a pretty tough cookie. I can tell you what, if you want to borrow some tonight we're talking about Diddygate. Samantha and I, we're talking about,
dude, how big is that blown up, man? Like they're dragging Justin Bieber and Usher into it now.
I just want someone to bring into court as like Exhibit A, just like a picture of an Amazon purchase order for like 100 gallons of baby oil. Can someone make that happen for me? Because I see that like baby oil is trending.
The memes are great. Like the baby oil. I forget which brand baby oil, but not getting there. Johnson and Johnson's executive not getting realizing that P. Diddy's not going to be ordering his normal amount of baby oil this month, and the guy throws his wine glass down and stuff. It's awesome. I mean, the memes are.
Have you seen the one? It says the Fed's trying to climb the stairs at P. Diddy's house, and it's like these guys on the slippery house sliding down.
Yeah, that's funny. You could picture Crowder doing what, Craig? I'm sorry, I don't have the mouse in my hand to put that up there. But Craig M, what can you picture Crowder doing? But they were dragging Usher and Justin Bieber into it. Apparently, Usher, I didn't know this because I don't follow pop anything. But apparently, Usher was appointed guardian of Justin Bieber at some point and assigned and allowed Diddy to have PTS coming through.
Anson Knowles donated $20, super chat. Auto racing is a fake sport with the same level of actual skill and overall real deserved interest as the WNBA.
Anson Knowles,
a bunch of boring driving around in circles. It's as fun to watch as competitive power walk.
Or guess I didn't like that. Actually, auto racing, mountain climbing, and bullfighting are the only true sports. Everything else is just a game.
I did a report in middle school about how the average person wouldn't survive being a passenger in an IndyCar race or a NASCAR race. You have to be incredibly fit just to survive being a passenger in a race like that.
So I have somewhere, I think I kept it. I had a report from GM where they had done a bunch of crash studies on the different. It was aimed towards the NASCAR cars, but it was to help us understand how to build better cages. And so they had a car hit the wall sideways at not like a tremendous speed, like 115 miles an hour. And the driver has his hands on the steering wheel. And this was a real impact. They just happened to have high-speed cameras in the car when it happened. And the driver hits the wall sideways. His hands come off the wheel, hit the shoulder belt stretch, and his hands are outside the opposite window of the car. And then they snap back to the wheel before, and he never knew it happened. Like if it hadn't been for the camera, he wouldn't have realized it happened. And it's incredible footage to watch. It's just incredible to realize how much force is put on your body in that instant of impact. It's pretty impressive stuff. I used to tell people all the time the tragedy in auto racing is not that you die, because if you die, we mourn you. You're dead. You're not here anymore. We mourn you. We move on. The real tragedy is if you live, but you live as a vegetable or a burn victim that has to receive care for the rest of your life from the people that you love. And so, and I had this really cocky driver one time. He was a younger guy. And I asked him, I said, how would you feel? Because these are all type A guys too, right? Like they've got money and stuff. I'm like, how would you feel if your beautiful, charming, loving wife had to change your adult diapers for the rest of your life because you didn't wear a Hans device properly and you got a basal skull fracture? How would you feel about that? Like just one thing that you knew you should do and you don't do it, and it causes this John Smith, I'll be gone, buddy. I'm kind of winding down. But burns don't really heal very well depending on how bad they are. And it's terrible if you live, to be honest, in a lot of cases, because it's going to be bad. It's all bad. There's no good. And for most of these men, they were providers, they were type A's, they were manly men. And so they couldn't, they would not be happy with that. Right. They couldn't live with them. And and I told them, think of the depression that you would probably endure knowing that the people that you promised to take care of are now taking care of you. And that was usually enough to get them to wear the Hans, wear the proper fire suit and shoes and all of that, and tighten the belts properly and all of that. Because that's what killed Dale Earnhardt, actually, was he had a habit of loosening the belts during caution so he could move around and stretch and all that. And they went back to green faster than he thought they would, and he couldn't put the belts on. And since he couldn't get the belts on, when he hit that wall, it was just a basal skull fracture, which, it's what happens when your head goes one way and your body goes another. So anyway, that was depressing. Sorry. Yeah, politics was way better. Now he's talking about me on his show on Rumble.
No, I muted myself. I was a Rusty Wallace guy myself. I said Rusty Rhodes. Rusty Rhodes was a public safety secretary of Oklahoma.
Okay. I never did NASCAR. I did road racing, and Michelle, actually, injuries were really uncommon. Broken legs, usually, if anything, but the way that the cars are built, we can take an amazing amount of impact. I actually had a driver, actually, and one of my cars was being an idiot, and he hit a slick spot in the track. He didn't get out of the power, so when it regained traction, it snapped the car back the other way, and it literally drove right into the wall, about maybe 15 yards, if that, probably closer to 10 yards, and destroyed the car. Guy got out and walked away. No problem. I probably have a picture of the car.
Wow.
Maybe not. Probably don't. Not on this computer. But anyway, but yeah, it's usually, you really have to mess up to get hurt. But yeah, you could break an arm, break legs, usually. I don't know. You're more likely to be burned. So get out of the car.
So on that note, I didn't know what a Hans device was, so I looked it up. How do you, if you got to get out, how do you take this thing off?
Well, it allows some movement of the head. What its purpose of is if you have the tethers strapped properly and you have it adjusted, what happens is that and if you have your belts attached properly, what it prevents is your head going forward like this and twisting, which is what causes a basal skull fracture and kills you or paralyzes you from the neck down forever. It's kind of a 50-50 thing. And so those tethers prevent your head from going forward, and the way the belts are, it prevents your head has to move with your whole body. So it keeps the spine more in alignment. So that's how that works. Getting out is the drivers have to be able to prove that they can get out of the car in under 5 seconds. So they have to be able to get rid of the belts. We have tubes, and we have breathing, or we have air filtration and water tubes going to them, and those have to just rip out of the car. They have to be able to get out of the car in 5 seconds. Most guys can get out in well under 5, like 2 or 3 seconds, because a second is actually a really long time. But the Hans device is really important. It really is. And I don't know. But yeah, it's more likely, honestly, if you get in a crash in a race car, you're probably not going to get hurt. A good race car, you should not get hurt very badly. I have personally half rolled a car, didn't even get a bruise. I've crashed a car into a wall. I bruised my feet, and that was a Formula car, so my feet were actually in front of the wheels. So, and then, yeah, it was. I've crashed a couple of times. But fire is the biggest danger, and one of the things that's really important is to teach the drivers how to use the fire systems and all of that, because what a amateur rookie club race driver will do is, while the instant they see fire, they pull the fire system, and that's wrong. The minute you know you're on fire, the first thing you do is get the hell off the track, like get stopped, like right now. And once you're stopped, you get the hell out of the car. And then if you remember on the way out, you push the fire button. Otherwise, just get out of the car.
This is so wild. It's the opposite of a military egress, where you get untethered to whatever type of vehicle you're in, and on your way out, you set the vehicle on fire. So, it's like,
yeah. Well, in this case, the vehicle's already on fire for you. You don't have to worry about that, and you put the fire out. We want to save the vehicle. But yeah, I mean, we at Road Atlanta one year, we were at a vintage race, and this is and so look, in pro racing, nothing. It's never really that exciting. In club racing or vintage racing, it gets really exciting. And so we were at Road Atlanta one year for the Walter Mitty historicals, and we were, of course, these are gentlemen racers. A lot of them have the cost of a really nice sized house rolled up into these cars. They wipe them with diapers. They're the love of their lives. Their wives are a distant second. A lot of them are works of art, and they're driving them out around the track. Some of them drive them actually fast. Some of them just parade around because they want to feel like the race car drivers back in the day, whatever. I don't know. But we actually, all the people that I took were actually in race classes. And I remember we were out, and I think we were running a 914 or 914.6, and our car was doing fine. But all of a sudden we hear down the line, we hear fire, fire, fire. And they're in this Alfa Romeo was coming in, and it was on fire. Like flames, like coming out of the hood, out of the wheel wells. I mean, this thing's on fire. And the driver was standing in the seat because he couldn't put his feet in the footwell because there was fire there, right? And so, and he's like steering like in a cartoon. The problem is he couldn't stop the car. He couldn't stop the car. And so we had to catch this car that was on fire. So it literally had to go by, and then we caught like parts of the roll cage and stuff as it rolled by. And then of course we put it out, and it just sat there pushed against the wall all weekend to remind people to tighten their fuel lines. And but because that's what happens almost every time it's a carburetor or fuel line issue that catches the cars on fire. We had a 911 burned to the ground. It came out, and it also at Road Atlanta. This was at the Porsche Club race there, and it came out of 11 down into 12 and coming onto the front straight. And as it comes down the hill, you can see that it's on fire. And then you can see the driver pull the fire system, and you see this big puff of smoky material, which is the halon that's now being sucked out of the windows and not putting the fire out. So the fire dims down, and then it comes right back, right? And so this poor guy is like trying all his hardest to make it to the nearest Marshall station where they have a fire extinguisher to put his car out. And he didn't make it because Road Atlanta, when he comes off on pit out, it goes downhill and then it goes uphill, and he lost all of his momentum going up that hill. And they had these 60-year-old, 100-pound overweight volunteers trying to run fire extinguishers out there. I felt bad. I thought those guys were going to die. And they put it out of had to they did not actually get it out before it burned basically to the ground. So that was a really nice vintage 911 gone. And then let's see, I've had fires in the shop. Fire is a common thing. It doesn't bother me at all. Fire is just fire. But I almost rolled a car once. I got hit at I was at Memphis Motorsports Park, and I got hit in the corner, and I went off the track. And one of the things you don't ever want to do in the soft material like gravel, sand, or grass is you don't want to go off sideways. You need to get the car turned and go off as straight as you possibly can. Because what happens if you go off sideways, the wheels dig in as they try and slide across. The wheels will dig in and the car will flip. And so I didn't have enough inertia by the time I'd slid off the track. So I only went up literally on the passenger side of the car. And I'm sitting there in the seat, and I'm really angry because I'm basically I honestly think I'm going to go over and go upside down. And I'm sitting there in a seat, and I'm in a containment seat. So I have rib protectors on both sides. So I can't, to get out, I have to twist sideways to get out. Like it's like almost like a T-slot, right? To get in and out of the seat. So and I'm mad. I'm like really angry. I've got the fog of war and all of that. I don't even think about what's going on. I'm just really pissed off. And I look out the window and I see these poor corner marshals. Again, these guys are like 60, 70 years old. They're all out of shape. They've got these massive, like 30-liter fire extinguishers just trying to run, and they're stainless steel fire extinguishers running across the ground towards me. And I forgot that when you crash, you're supposed to put your hand out of the window to signal that you're okay, so they can just stroll over there, right? And I was so angry that I was trying to figure out how I was going to get out of the car without falling on my face that I didn't think anything about putting my hand out and saying, hey, I'm okay, until I saw them about to kill him, about to have heart attacks running to help me. So I put my hand up and I said, hey, yeah, I'm okay. And then I ended up having to climb out of the car, which was interesting. It was like a jungle gym, because it's weird when a car is on its side, right? Because it's different than its normal configuration. And then we literally just pushed it back over on its wheels, and I drove it back to the pits. But yeah, that was the one time that I was almost upside down. Almost, not quite.
Just get out, set the car on fire, and leave. No.
Yeah, no. I don't know that I've actually been on. I've been in cars while I had the front brakes of my truck catch on fire. Is about the closest I've come to being on fire. So, yeah, that used to be a thing. That's why all gas can all fuel tanks in cars have most of them have locks on them now because of things like that. Michelle, yeah. I've got a lot of stupid racing stories. I've crashed a lot. I've had my cars crashed a lot. I got a lot of, I did this a long time. So a lot of stupid stuff. Like we ran the truck out of gas in Arizona, or out of diesel. We ran the truck out of diesel once in Arizona. So we unloaded one of the race cars, which, by the way, do not have headlights. We unload in the middle of night. We unload one of the race cars out, duct tape a flashlight to the dash, and sent the guy down the street with a fuel jug to get diesel for the truck. Like, just go have fun. And he came back and he had diesel. And that was all that mattered. I'm positive that he probably had a long talk with the local police department at whatever town that he found to get diesel at. But we drove to the next exit and got filled the truck up with diesel and kept on moving. But yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, I can't get into late models and all of that nonsense. That's not very good. How does a driver use the bathroom? They don't. But I did sprint racing. When we did endurance racing, like at Daytona for the 24, some drivers actually do have a piss tube. They do that. They have the whole thing like jet pilots use, and it just collects in a bag by their leg. But we only do 2-hour stints, so you shouldn't have to do that. And or we normally do 2-hour stint. And some guys stay out longer, but we never had a problem. I mean, the drivers are out in the car. They're not thinking about taking a leak. I'll be honest with you. So,
well,
I'm boring.
Yeah, and your brain. This is why I did the report. Again, this report, it was a long time ago. I haven't been in middle school for a long time. But your brain prioritizes things different. It might look boring to watch a race. And then I was trying to even as a middle schooler, I was trying to help educate culturally Black Americans on things that could, help us get out of, the things being cars, clothes, shoes, hose, whatever. So I would talk to people about NASCAR, and these drivers, and presumably all drivers that they're really incredible athletes. There's a lot of physical exertion, and look at them take their interviews. They're freaking drenched in sweat. Their hair's all crazy. But anyway,
they'll pass out.
Yeah, this is the type of exertion that your brain will change priorities so that evacuation using the bathroom is very low priority when you're traveling over 100 miles an hour. Some of them way over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Held in on what you're doing. I think it would be kind of odd to even recall, back in turn when I think I had to pee. That would be super strange.
It's interesting because if you talk to drivers, I've talked to, I've done a lot of debriefs. We had a very specific procedure to handle the data acquisition and that sort of thing, because it's pretty high tech overall. But if you talk to them, if they will not, like, right after they get out of the car, they will not be able to tell you what they did at all. But you give them like 5 or 10 minutes and let the brain organize the material. It's like a download and cataloging, and they'll walk you through each lap. I was here, I did this, I passed this car, I did this, I did that, I did, and the really good drivers will tell you, well, I could have been a half a second a lap faster there, but I had, I was getting concerned about the tires, or whatever, or I just had an off lap, and they're very used to that. And the mental game is almost as important as the physical ability to drive. Matter of fact, the for the most part, drivers are made. They're not born. Like, anybody that has reasonable reflexes and reasonable depth perception, you can get out there
Really?
and do
Well,
it.
I would have thought it would have been, because like fighter pilots they're made, but they need some physiological things about them that are different. Their
Right.
eyesight is one of them.
Again, as long as you're within a block, like almost any, like I've taken people that you just would not expect to be like really good race car drivers, and they're really good race car drivers. A lot of it's just your mental game and how well you can focus. And one of the things that's interesting, and I tried this for a long time, and I was never really able to make it work. And I don't know that anyone ever will be able to make it work. But for a long time, I was known as, I gave young people a chance to get in the car at a reasonable rate, right? Like I would subsidize, I would go to the series and get them to subsidize whatever it took to kind of get get these people into a car, and get them out on track and see if they could do it, right? Because a lot of them had racing experience. They just needed that next step. And there's a lot of sponsorship opportunities that are missed in racing. I'll get to that in a minute. So I would bring in female drivers. I would bring in young drivers. I had a black driver for a while, a couple of them actually, and I did everything. I did everything I could to promote young people driving, not just old pros, right? Which we would always have. We always had one of those around, but we would do anything we could to have younger drivers. The interesting thing about it to me was how I could take these young female drivers and put them in the car, and once they got over the sense of speed and the sounds and the smells, they could be very fast because they're really sensitive to what the car is doing. They generally don't over control, and they listen to direction because they don't have that sense of pride coming into it, right? It falls apart, which is why I think they do better in drag racing than they do road racing. It falls apart when they get in traffic and someone's next to them. They don't seem to have the same controlled aggression that men have, right? Like a man can be very aggressive up to a very specific point. And he knows that if he goes any further, the car is going to spin out, or he's going to crash, or what, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And women seem to lack that ability to judge that to a very high level. Not that they can't, just at a high level. And I'm being very general here.
No.
Huh?
I just launched. I said, you're going to piss off the feminists. I just
That's
launched
okay.
a
I
recurring
piss off the
series
feminists
called,
every day.
Yeah, I'm doing little spots on my show called This Week in Feminism, and I put up something stupid. It's been fun. I've only done 3.
Well, you could use that. I give you permission. So Victoria's Secret, it was well known in our community, and I talked to them. Victoria's Secret was willing to pay basically a very large amount of money, not whatever I wanted, but a very, very large amount of money if I could guarantee a championship. I'm like, I can't guarantee you with a female driver. I can't do that. Now I can guarantee you a championship, but it may not be a female driver. I mean, I can one of these two things I can do. Both of these things I can't do. And so it was a very tough deal because I really wanted to partner with them. But they absolutely demanded that a female driver win the championship. And I'm like, first of all, there's no way that I could guarantee that. Second, I mean, I've got to have a dude in there to, that's probably going to be way faster or as fast. So, I mean, and there were some really good ones. Like Sarah Cataneo. She's married. I forget her married name, but she was really, really good, and she did really well. Samantha Tan is doing real well right now with BMW. But again, these are really outliers, man. Just really, really outliers. So, but Joe, I've got to wrap it up, man. I typically do a hard out at 3 because I have things I need to get done.
Nice.
And you guys, you know how it is, man. It is what it is. I'm gonna send all you. I'm gonna raid CT. So when I close it out, that's where you guys will go. You guys are gonna enjoy it. It's a great time. And to everyone, it's a great show today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody coming out. Tomorrow night's show will be awesome. I need to work on the thumbnails a little more. And I've got to communicate with Samantha today. But remember, tomorrow, Outspoken Samantha will be on the show. Please, if you have not watched her morning show and you do watch morning shows, go watch her morning show. It's really good. I believe that Joe and Samantha have a show tonight at 7:30. Go watch it. It'll probably be exceptional. So everybody go watch it and do all the like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, point all your enemies in that direction, so we can all meet in the same area at the same time. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace be with